Hare Krishna, my Dandavat pranams to all the assembled devotees, and welcome in this program of fond memories of Srila Gurudev. And first of all, I offer my unlimited Dandavat pranams to our most beloved, most merciful ocean of mercy, our dear Srila Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishtom Vishnupad Ashtota Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ji, and beg for his mercy, and also our entire Guru Parampara, Rupana Guru work, and all of you assembled Vaishnavas who are listening and who are going to listen to this program. My humble Dandavat pranams to all of you. And because of mercy of all our Guru works and Vaishnavas, we are able to organize this program today. And we have a very special guest today. I will introduce her in a moment. I want to say a few things before we start. Krishna is very, very merciful, and he is very special in all the ways. Whatever he does in style and grandeur. He is called Yogeshwar. He is the biggest of yogis. When he is entering into bhakti, he is doing the topmost bhakti. He comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he tastes the bhavs of Srimati Radharani, the topmost possible. And when he is stealing, he is the topmost. So he called Chauragya Ganyam Purusham Namami. He is the topmost thief also. He is stealing butter all the time from gopis in their houses. So what is this butter? This is actually the heart of gopis, which is like a butter. To come to the stage of butter, there are many, many things which have to be done before. You have to take the raw milk, first of all, and then you have to boil it. So the milk has to go through a lot of heating and boiling. So the heart of a person, first of all, when you start, we are heated by the material desires, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, lust, envy, greed, anger, all these things. And then we are boiling in this world. And then when it calms down a little bit after the milk is boiled, then you keep it overnight. But you just cannot keep it like that. Nothing will happen. You have to put a little bit of yogurt in it. So this little bit of yogurt is nothing but our Gurudev's Ashirvad or his mercy, or maybe Vaishnav's mercy, and then we keep it for some time. It doesn't happen immediately. Overnight we have to keep it, and next day morning we have very nice yogurt. But Krishna doesn't steal yogurt also. He doesn't steal milk, he doesn't steal yogurt. So now you have to churn this yogurt, and in the churning, the process of churning which we do while doing bhajan together, the churning is going on, and all the unnecessary things are removed from the butter. So the thing which are sour is removed, like we call chach or buttermilk, it is removed. And then we're left with very nice smelling, very soft butter. And the butter is so nice and so soft that Krishna cannot stop himself. He has to come and steal your butter, steal your heart like this. So when you have a butter like this, your heart is like a butter, Krishna will come to you. You don't have to go to Krishna. He will come looking for you. And he's longing to steal that heart. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful. He doesn't even care for butter. He's ready to steal your milk and also your yogurt. Whatever you have, he's ready to steal. Not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but his associates, and of which we are very fortunate to come in contact with directly, all of us, our Srila Gurudev, and the very dear associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He will steal your milk also. He will steal your yogurt also. And he will convert it into butter. And then he will offer it to Lord Krishna. And then Krishna will come and steal that butter. So everything is done by our Gurudev for us. We are so, so fortunate. And one more thing I want to say before we start today's program. Our Gurudev's mercy is beyond time and space. If you are not living close to Gurudev, does not matter. If you are on the other side of the world, like today our guest is, it does not matter. And even if you have not met him at all, you are not there with him in time, like he has already physically disappeared from this earth. But even now, if you hear his stories, his memories, his books, he is there for you all the time. So he's beyond time and space. Only thing we have to connect to him. So today we will endeavor to connect to him through one of his very, very dear disciples, very senior disciples, I must say, and I found her by chance. I have never met her personally, even though I've been meeting Gurudev from 1991, 92. But it is Gurudev's desire that he has brought her here to this platform. I did not try anything for it. I just saw her one clip on the Facebook, and I was so touched by her speech and by her emotions, by her love for Srila Gurudev, that I could not stop myself, but I had to contact her. I did not ask anybody. Normally I ask Sanjay Prabhu and take his advice, but her speech was so powerful that I just immediately had to somehow get in touch with her. And by Gurudev's mercy, I got in touch with her. And by Gurudev's mercy, she agreed to speak on the platform. And she has a lot of memories. She has been writing Gurudev letters, many of them in 90s, early 90s. And Gurudev has very personal relationship with her. And he has guided her very nicely. And now, even though she is living on the other side of the world, she has joined us from Florida, USA. And it's an evening, nighttime there. But she is always connected to Srila Gurudev, and she always feels his mercy, his love. And not only she feels it, but she's spreading it around. And it is helping everyone. I also got a drop of her mercy by reading her small memories, which she shared a few days back, and which I also shared on our platform in Hindi as well as in English. So today we are going to listen in detail about her relationship, about her journey, about her affair with Srila Gurudev, how it all went. So I'll give a small introduction. Today our guest is Srimati Krishna Vallabha Didi, also known as Krishna Rose. And she met Gurudev in 1995 for the first time. And then she lived with him in the mutt for 4 months. I think 4 months, I'm not sure. So 4 months is a long time. Gurudev, even if you meet him for a few seconds, he will do the trick because he's a stealer. He is also Charagya Ganyam, like Krishna, he steals the heart, he steals the heart. He has told himself that I steal the hearts and I keep it in my pocket. And then I make a garland out of it and I give it to Radharani and Krishna. So she's one of the flower, one of the gems in our Sangha, which Gurudev has stolen and kept in his pocket, and he's offering to Radharani. So then she traveled on his first tour, which was 1996. And then Srila Gurudev asked her to write and perform English songs like poets Wordsworth and Milton, which she's doing right now. And then he filled her heart with many treasures, which we are going to see today. Very mercifully, some of them she's going to unfold in front of us. And then he told her to go away and realize what he has given. See, this is what most very important. You don't have to be with him all the time. He has given you whatever he has to give, and you realize it now. You work on it. And then he also told her many secrets about Jesus Christ in India. So we'll listen to that also. And she is also a poet. She writes poetry. She's also written a book, which is like a bestseller, Women in Red. So we'll hear about that also. And then Gurudev inspired her to write true story of Jesus Christ in India before and after resurrection. She has produced 4 albums of devotional music inspired by Srila Param Gurudev. So I'm very keen to hear how Param Gurudev inspired her and what is the angle there, which we don't know. So we'll hear in her talk and maybe listen to some of her music also. And also she's doing an online course, which is a roadmap to liberation for people of all religion. So we'll also hear and get to know what this online course is. And if possible, we'll share this information or links, whatever, so that everybody in the world can benefit. Online course is online. Anybody can hear from anywhere. So we will try to publish it in our groups and also Facebook so that many people come to know about it. So with me, please welcome our dear guest today, Srimati Krishna Vallabha Didi. Dandavat Pranam Didi, welcome on this program.
Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranams, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I feel really honored and to get to speak about Gurudev, and it was pure nectar hearing your sweet realizations of how Krishna steals the heart. And Gurudev was the very embodiment of that butter thief's ability to steal the heart in just one moment, one glimpse with those beautiful blue eyes of Gurudev, and that's it. It's game on. You are headed for the kingdom, whether you know it or not. So I do have a chant to sing with everybody, but I'm thinking that I would like to speak because I'm inspired to just speak right now. And then
you can, when you feel like singing in between also, you are free to sing. If you want to sing before, you can do that. And there is no time limit, but normally we speak for maximum 2 hours. Sometimes people go for 2 hours 15 also. Depends on how you are, how much inspiration Gurudev is giving. So feel free to do whatever you like and share your letters or photographs. I have some of your letters which you shared publicly. If you want, I can do it for you whenever you tell me. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So when I first came to Gurudev, I was in Vrindavan. I had been writing to him since 1993. I was living in the Soho Street Temple in London, and I was searching for a pure guru like Srila Prabhupada. I did not want to be cheated. I wanted someone like Srila Prabhupada or no one. And I was determined to find that pure saint. And so I was living in the temple, and many people were coming and going, and I could just never find anybody that just gave me that feeling that they had Krishna in their heart. So then I came to Vrindavan in search of a guru, and I was in Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi mandir, and I was praying to Srila Prabhupada and weeping because I was about to leave Vrindavan, and I had seen so many gurus, and yet not one person had moved my heart in the way that I knew I was meant to be moved by a pure Vaishnava. So all of a sudden I'm weeping and I'm begging Srila Prabhupada, I'm so disappointed I didn't find a guru. I've been crying and praying and begging, and I'm just so fallen and I'm so alone in this world. Please help me. And a friend from England just pulled up outside on a rickshaw and came. His name was Sridham Sakha, a very dear friend of mine at that time, like a brother. And he came into Prabhupada Samadhi and said, "Oh, Anita, Gurudev just arrived. You have to come." So I grabbed my friends and we got in the rickshaw and we went from Vrindavan to Mathura. And as I crossed the threshold into Keshavji Gaudiya Mutt for the first time, I felt something different, something profoundly sweet was here, something I had not felt anywhere else. So I knew immediately, oh, something's here. Now, you know, I had been writing to Gurudev here and there on and off and reading his books, but I had never met him personally. So I came up the stairs and there he was standing in the courtyard, and he pointed to me very eagerly. "Who are you? Where have you come from?" he said, very enthusiastic to meet me. So I left my friends and I came. I felt like I was skipping. I don't know what I was doing, but I ran to Gurudev and I fell at his feet, and then I looked up into his eyes from the ground, and he said, "Who are you and where have you come from?" I said, "My name is Anita and I'm from England. I'm the girl who's been writing to you." And he said, "I've been waiting for you for so long." And I just burst out crying. And he said, "I want that she has a room here in the temple. She should have a room here." So Gurudev gave me a room very kindly. And he asked, "Are you qualified?" And, you know, everyone in the room, what do you say when a pure saint asks you, "Are you qualified?" Because that has so many layers of answers and so many layers of meaning. Am I qualified? Yes, I'm qualified, Gurudev. Everybody else is going, "No, Gurudev, I'm not qualified." He said, "Greed is the only qualification. If you want to see Krishna with your eyes, if you want to worship him with your mind and be moved by his love and by her love for him, then when you stand or sit before a pure Vaishnav, a pure guru who came from that world into this world to deliver us from suffering and struggle, Are you qualified? No, I'm absolutely not qualified. That's the truth. We are absolutely not qualified. But our qualification is this greed that we have for loving Krishna and Radhe and Gurudev and the entire Guru Parampara and Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda and this entire eternal spiritual family that is surrounding us with their grace and their mercy. When we remember them, when we invoke them through our praying, when we are chanting holy name, invoking Radha and Krishna to come into our hearts. And so Gurudev said your only qualification should be greed. If you believe that you belong there, that's your only qualification. And, you know, relationships in this world, they're fraught with problems. No relationship here is perfect. You can have close to perfection, but it's not perfect because everyone is ultimately out for their own selfish gain. So we inevitably find ourselves feeling disappointed or hurt or wounded by people. Relationships hurt. And if they don't hurt, then death will surely hurt when it comes. So therefore, it's essential that we find a way to climb out of this illusion of what we're not, which is this body and this ego, and that we come to realize who we are when we're before God, before Radha and Krishna. Who are you when you're standing in front of them? What would you say to them? What do you want to do for them? How could you ever bring them pleasure? Their world is so perfect, they want for nothing. And yet here, this maiden of Sri Radhe has come into this world to give this treasure of prem, this treasure of pure love. And so Gurudev described that when we are in his presence, that the heart is like a vessel, a pot that collects the treasure that the Guru fills the heart with of the disciple. At the time of meeting with the eyes, these treasures are filled in our coffers. And then after some time of not being around Gurudev, this treasure, it slowly starts waning, or it feels like it's waning because we drill the holes of sin into our own cup. And I don't like to use this word sin, but what I'm talking about is selfishness. And selfishness manifests in many ways. So selfishness can look like wanting to be rich, chasing after things that are not of the eternal reality. Anything that is bringing you away from that path and from your consciousness of God is what one might deem a sin. Therefore, every one of these holes that we drill through the cup of our consciousness that Gurudev has filled these treasures in, that even though it feels like it's actually going away, it's always there as gemstones to be realized at some point when we are practicing and when we are serious and when we are sincere and when we are prayerful and conscious of what we're doing. Krishna consciousness means to become conscious of Krishna, to stand before the Lord and Lady, or before Gurudev, before the entire Guru Parampara, before Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. And who are you when you're standing in front of them? That is your truth. And everything but that is the lie. And so that is the treasure that he has given us. And it's like a great opportunity that the goal of life has been made so readily available to us by such a saint as our Gurudev and our Srila Prabhupada, who came to this world to spread the mission of Nayana Mani Manjari, who we just celebrated, Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Our entire Guru lineage is full of these maidens who came from Sri Radhe's lotus hand into this world to deliver us from our wrong way of thinking about who we are and what we're here for and what the goal of our existence is. So Gurudev was extremely merciful. Everywhere he went, he was always seeing the truth of the suffering soul. So in the mutt, I was downstairs in my room, and I was really the only lady staying in the temple. It was all full of brahmacharis and sannyasis, and some people were quite mad at Gurudev for allowing a young single girl like me into an all-male ashram. But I'm going to just turn.
This was in 1995, right?
This was in December of 1995, and then I stayed with Gurudev until he left for Holland. And then I went up to Kashmir to see my grandfather, and then I met Gurudev in London when he first.
What I understand is you are about to leave that day, and that day you met this friend of yours. Then you extended your stay for 4 months. Is that so?
Yes, I just stayed there. I didn't want to leave. There's no way I was leaving. And yeah, my friend Narad was with me, and he came and he stayed there for about 3 weeks. And then he decided to leave, but I decided to stay. So we parted there. We weren't boyfriend or girlfriend. We were just very, very close friends. But I was completely sold to Gurudev. He literally stole my heart, and he said, "I've put you in my pocket forever." And he literally did it without me knowing what was happening to me. But anyway, while I was staying here in the mutt, there was one young girl, a very sweet little Indian girl, maybe 12 years old. And she was a toilet cleaner on a street girl, living on the streets, poor and cleaning toilets. So she was considered to be an unclean person by certain people who were living in the temple, I guess. Of course, I knew Gurudev didn't think that way, and nor did I. So anyway, this sweet little girl would come to my room every day, and we would somehow communicate, even though I couldn't speak Hindi, and she obviously didn't speak English, but we would communicate with hand gestures and eyebrows and glances, and it was very sweet. And I gave her some presents, and, we just had this sweet connection. And one day I said, "You must come upstairs with me. I want you to come to the temple room and meet my Gurudev." So I took her upstairs, and I took her into the temple room. Gurudev's door was closed. There was nobody around, so I took her in the temple room, and I showed her where Param Gurudev's shoes were, and I showed her the deities, and we walked around the temple. And then some brahmacharis came and said, "You can't bring her here. She has to leave. You can't bring her in here. She's got to go. Why did you bring her?" They were speaking very loudly, angrily at me for bringing this girl upstairs, because she's considered to be, unclean, and the temple is a holy place where there's very strict standards of Brahminical standards of worship. So, but I, totally forgot all of that. Of course, I'm from the West. What do I know about all of these things? So anyway, then Gurudev came out of his room and saw that there was some commotion. And he came over and he asked me what was happening. And I said, "Oh, her name wasn't Lakshmi. She had another name. I gave the name." And he said, "How do you know her?" I said, "Oh, she lives on the streets, Gurudev. She's the cleaner of the toilet behind where I'm staying. She's a very sweet young girl." And Gurudev said, "Very good, very good." And he immediately took her and blessed her with it like this, and gave her the name Lakshmi. And he put his hand on her head and he blessed her, and everyone was like, "Oh, I can't believe Gurudev's doing this," and he spoke Maha Mantra to her, and he told her to wear Kanti Mala, told somebody to give her beads, and she left. So I saw many examples of this kind of generous compassion that Gurudev just oozed out of him. And he reminded me right from the start of Jesus Christ. I felt like I was around Christ, being around Gurudev. I'm not Christian. I never have been Christian, but I love Jesus and I love Jesus's teachings. And so here I was suddenly with this holy master who seemed like a living Jesus to me. And so I would get to go in his room, and just very small groups of people would be in there. Sometimes I was able to just be with one or two people. Sometimes even on my own with just him and his disciple, Srila Madhav Maharaj. So the first time I came, I had many friendship bracelets tied around my wrists, many. And he asked me, what are these? What are all these bracelets? I said, oh, they're friendship bracelets, Gurudev. He said, friendship bracelets? What is that? I said, you know, like when you make a friend, they give you a little thing and you wear it here. So he says, go get my knife. So Madhav Maharaj went and ran. Back then he wasn't Madhav Maharaj, he was Devine. And so anyway, he went and he brought the knife, and sorry, and I've forgotten his name. It wasn't Naveen, was it?
It was Naveen Prabhu, yes. Madhav Maharaj was Naveen Prabhu. Yeah.
Long time ago, my memory is not perfect, but anyway, Madhav Maharaj came with the knife. Gurudev had a little knife, maybe this big. Gurudev took the knife and he's coming towards me with the knife. It's the first time I've met him, you know. I'm sitting in his room. He's coming towards me with the knife, and I'm thinking all these things I've heard about him from ISKCON, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like he's coming at me with a knife. It's just so weird. Like, what's happening? And he just put this knife underneath all of my bracelets, ripped them off, and they fell to the ground. And then he did the next one and he ripped them off. He said, you have no friends in this world. I am your only friend. This moment was so powerful and so revealing to me of what is reality and what is not reality. Gurudev also explained to me that just because somebody wears kanti mala and tilak, that we should not automatically presume that they are Vaishnav. And I wondered why he said this to me a long time ago, but now I understand, because Bhakti has nothing to do with externals. Bhakti is an emotion. It's a feeling. It's divine love descending down through Guru Parampara from the kingdom into our hearts. So when we judge one another based on externals, we degrade our mind with the sin of criticism. The heart is a private temple which nobody sees but God and Guru. And it's so easy to make a show of one's religion. It's another thing to withdraw and pray with tears in one's eyes for that mercy to keep descending and to be allowed entrance into the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And when one prays like this, Gurudev is so eager to awaken every chintamani like jewel that he has placed within the heart when he met us in that one moment where that miraculous glance hit the heart with that eternal seed of expectation. So this is our qualification. Our qualification is that the kingdom is within us. It's within everyone. The path is laid before us, and saints like Christ or like Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada or any saint who from the kingdom descends, they come to this world to help us realize that the kingdom is within us. Therefore, Jesus taught that we should not judge. And my Gurudev always, his most favorite teaching that I heard him say in every class was, don't criticize, not even an ant. So this is the first thing that we need to do to bring ourselves out of this constant drilling of this beautiful chalice where Gurudev has placed these treasures. It's very important that we don't criticize. If your mind is criticizing and your words are judging and gossiping about others in some way that could be perhaps harmful, should that person ever hear the truth of what you've said or what you're thinking, we drill so many millions of holes in our pot, and all that we are trying to gain in spiritual life is lost. So aparad is the first and most important thing that we end. So in Gurudev's name, I pray that anyone who listens to this pravachan can become qualified for pure bhakti in this life, and that they might realize every one of these treasures that Gurudev has planted there within the fertile soil of your heart. From that one glance that he gave each of us, so much was given that is yet to be realized, and it's a joyful path. Divine love is joyful. Gurudev didn't even understand what depression was. When I first came to him, I told him that I had an addiction to marijuana, and that I used to like rolling bidis. In fact, I even rolled a bidi on the roof at Gurudev's mat on the first night I was there. I just didn't think that it wouldn't be okay. But Gurudev is so magnanimous, and he said, any sin that is there in you, I can remove with a glance. Do not worry for these things. The only thing to worry is, how do I gain the mercy of Sri Radha and Krishna Yugala? This should be our only concern. Gurudev told me, I will follow you to hell lifetime after lifetime to bring you home. And he meant this for everyone. This isn't just something he said to me. I don't intend on going to hell, of course, and he's not going to let it happen regardless, but that's not an option for me anyway. I'm definitely going in the right direction, as are we all. Anyone who has come, who has heard holy name from the lips of a pure Vaishnav, anyone who has received Gayatri within the fertile heart from the lips of a pure Vaishnava is on their way home. That process is different for each of us, yet it's the same process. As we heal ourselves and rise above our lower nature and begin to identify more with our eternal reality than our temporary reality, we come to this bridge that Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks of in Jaiva Dharma, where the soul is crossing from the mundane, temporary world to the eternal world. But this bridge, where as you're crossing it, you have to let go of one to attain the other. And that process is different for all of us. It takes a long time for some people, and it could take a moment for someone else. And how that process is happening to each of us is personal to us alone, and it should never be judged, not by anyone. And if we truly wish to enter into the kingdom, then we must become examples of a perfect disciple. So what is a perfect disciple? A perfect disciple can look like so many things, but the main thing is that we come to this place of, I am determined to not be separated from my Gurudev. I am determined to no longer be pushed out of these eternal reality and pastimes that are going on, I am determined by my Gurudev's grace that I will do whatever it takes. I am here to serve you in this flesh at every moment of my existence. And that is my prayer. My prayer is that by my actions and by my tearful praying, that something of the kingdom can be realized in this life, because I'm really tired of being reincarnated. I don't want to suffer any more death or grief. I'm done. We've done it for so many billions and billions of births. I can't do it anymore. And this is what the truth is. And we keep forgetting that death is going to take everything from us. And none of us know when that's coming. So we don't have time to progress slowly. If you're intelligent, you will make an effort to progress as fast as you possibly can. And how we do that is when we have a great captain leading our ship with his sails across the ocean of nescience, which leads me to a lovely story. When Gurudev came to Hawaii, to Maui, he wanted to go out on a ship to see the whales. He was very eager. And many people were confused. Why does Gurudev want to go see the whales, you know? And you just don't doubt what he wants to do. There's always a reason why Gurudev wants to do something, and it's never what we think. So we all go, a small group of us went on the boat with Gurudev, and he said, I am the captain of this ship, and all of you are coming with me across the oceans of nescience. And even those over there on the shore who do not see me, because I see them, I am taking them with me. This was the grace of a pure saint. I saw so many times examples of his just flowing mercy. Everywhere he would go, he would serve the environment. He would uplift every living being, even those who were inimical to him, even those who, like babies, would vomit on him. That Gurudev considered all of them to be like babies and gave them so much mercy anyway. That magnanimous vision of the pure holy master is immense. And this is the same feeling that I get from Jesus Christ, this magnanimous giving spirit to give divine love. So I asked Gurudev one time, where is Jesus? What happened to Jesus Christ? Where is he now? Did he enter the kingdom? And Gurudev told me so many things about Jesus, and I have revealed all of those secrets within my book, Woman in Red, Magdalene Speaks, which is a book that really is fully inspired by Gurudev and by my Guru Parampara, who got to weave very beautiful Vedic truths of Bhakti Yoga into the story of Jesus Christ, through the story of Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ was bringing people to the kingdom. Yes, that's my book, Woman in Red, Magdalene Speaks. So this is Mary Magdalene. She was the wife of Jesus, and the fox represents the wisdom that she is delivering through the book, and the butterfly represents transformation. She is a warrior because she is at battle against evil, and against the powers that be, against the masculine powers that have dominated our world and religions for the last 2,000 years. And this book sets right history and religion and it ties together every religion all across the globe. You don't have to be Christian or Hare Krishna or of any particular religion to read it. All of the secrets of liberation are there within this book, entirely blessed by my Guru parampara, who sit here before me on my desk as I write. So it is only with their great blessing that their story got to be written. And I'm very excited about my book, and I love to talk about it because Gurudev's secrets of Christ are utterly profound, and people need to know about it because it connects our paths. It's a bridge where all people who love Jesus so much but don't have a practice, a daily spiritual practice, an actual means of attaining the kingdom and understanding who God is, what God is, who you are in front of God, and what the goal of your life is, and what the kingdom is, and how to attain it. And all of this has been revealed within our Vedic scriptures. And when we tie the two together, Christianity, Judaism, and the path of Bhakti, it fits with every religion because it's divine love that we are seeking, and it's entrance into the kingdom, and there is only one God. So when Gurudev told me that Jesus had studied in Jagannath Puri from the age of 13 till he was in his early 20s, he lived with a Shankaracharya, who at the time I believe was the 5th Shankaracharya, and he lived next door to the temple of Lord Jagannath. And he was so blessed to have been allowed to enter into the temple of Lord Jagannath every day. He was brought there by the kings of India to study the Vedic scriptures and to prepare for his messianic mission, because Christ was not just the Messiah of the Jews, he was the Messiah of the entire world. And this was prophesied within our Vedic scriptures, within the Mahabhavishya Purana. So when Gurudev told me how Christ was living in India and the things that he had been exposed to, I was amazed to hear how he took Lord Jagannath's prasad daily, and then that the Brahmin priests, they didn't like that Jesus was preaching to the local villagers and the people on the streets. So the Brahmins threatened him and said, if you don't stop sharing these divine truths with these malechas, which is what they would call them back then, out of their spiritual snobbery, that they threatened to have Jesus and his mother Mary killed. So Gurudev told me that they hired dacoits to kill Jesus. So Christ and his mother Mary, they fled Puri and they went to Vrindavan through the forest that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked the exact same path 1,500 years later to Vrindavan from Puri. This amazed me. It's a 1-year walk through the forest, and they walked from Puri to Vrindavan, Jesus Christ and his mother Mary and his brothers, his siblings. When they got to Vrindavan, Gurudev told me that Jesus lived with the family descendants of Lord Krishna. And when he left Vrindavan to return to Judea to become the Messiah, that was when the Buddhists came to Vrindavan and destroyed all of the temples and deities that were in Vrindavan and killed thousands of disciples and followers and family members of Lord Krishna. This happened just after Christ had left there and gone back to Judea. So then Gurudev told me that, but then Jesus lived after his resurrection and he returned to Kashmir, and he said, and I went to the tomb of Christ. I've been there. This is him saying, I've been there, And I was taken downstairs into the real tomb of Jesus. The one at the top is not really him. I didn't know that. I've actually been to that tomb. I was there when I was 8 years old. My family is from Srinagar, India, Kashmir. So I was actually taken there when I was a child. And I thought to myself, how is it possible that Jesus Christ is buried here? This is so strange. Well, little did I know I would come to write the story and piece together all the missing pieces of the puzzle of his life after the resurrection, where he actually went and what he was actually doing with his life, and how he went on to fulfill every prophecy, both in the Vedic scriptures and of the Jewish and Roman scriptures and texts. So when Gurudev then told me that he went to a temple in Hemis, which is in Ladakh, way up high in the Himalaya mountains. My uncle used to work there. And this area is very remote. It's very hard to get to. And there's a Buddhist temple on the side of a cliff. And these Buddhist monks claim that Jesus Christ lived there with them. They believe that he was their reincarnated Dalai Lama, which ties in all religions. Again, they come back to this same point of divine love. So Gurudev went to this temple. I believe he went there with Param Gurudev when he was young, and he went to this temple in Hemis, and he told me that he was taken down into the caves where they had scrolls that were 2,000 years old that have all of the written evidence of Christ's time in Hemis, staying with the Buddhists. And the Buddhists were apparently helping Jesus's wounds to heal. He was in a lot of pain and he was a cripple. Gurudev told me that Jesus was a cripple for the rest of his life, that he had to walk with a cane. And Gurudev got to hold Jesus's cane in his hand. And he was also shown the footprints. You know how in India, when a saint dies, they take the foot imprints in cement or plaster cast, so that we can worship their footprints. And Jesus's footprints are there in the tomb, and you can see the raised bumps on the feet here where the nails would have gone through. And Gurudev told me that Jesus's feet would seep pus and blood for the rest of his life. And so every day they would have to put poultices on Christ's feet and wrap them with bandages. And I didn't know that, but these are some of the sweet things that Gurudev told me about Jesus.
I just want to ask you, sorry to interrupt, where is this temple, which place exactly, so that people know? And
yeah, the Buddhist temple is in Hemis.
No, the Samadhi of Jesus.
Oh, the Samadhi of Jesus is known as the Rosabal tomb. Rosabal, Rozabal, Rosabal tomb. You can read the works of Fida Hasnain, Professor Fida Hasnain. He is an expert on Christ's life in Kashmir after the resurrection. And he spent an entire life recording and writing down everything that he knew. And he had seen these scrolls in Hemis, and he had woven all of these stories together. And he was one of my big major inspirations for the evidential part of Christ's story. So the Rosabal tomb is in a place called Srinagar in Kashmir. And Srinagar is basically, there's Dal Lake, and there's thousands of temples around, mainly Lord Shiva temples, some Vishnu temples, now a few Krishna temples, and Jesus's tomb is very close nearby there. Okay. But nowadays you can't go near it, unfortunately. They have it surrounded with machine guns. You can't go anywhere near it. It's sad.
That is something which many people don't know. I think good information. It's like a secret. Yeah.
So then, you know, let me think. Gosh, there's just so many.
I want to ask you something, that your first contact with Srila Gurudev was not physical. You started writing letters.
Yes.
So how did you came to know about him, and how did you think of writing letters in the very beginning? And what replies you got, what you asked him? So if you want to know all those things.
Great question. So I was living in the ISKCON temple, Soho Street temple, praying to Srila Prabhupada for a pure guru because I didn't want to be cheated. So I was really looking, and I met a punk rock star who was a devotee of Krishna, Mahendrani, I believe her name was back then, or Maharani. And she was a famous punk rock singer, and she told me about Narayan Maharaj in India. She said there's a lot of controversy around him in ISKCON, but you should really write to him and see if you like him. Anyway, I wrote the same poem to every guru that I had ever heard of, because I was looking for a pure guru. And I got so many replies from so many gurus, and they all wrote a generic letter back to me saying, chant 16 rounds a day, follow the 4 regulative principles, and listen to my classes and follow me. And when we meet, maybe I can give you initiation. So when Gurudev's little handwritten letter came, I can't find the original letter that he actually wrote me, but it looked a lot like this. So it was like a little
inland letter. Yes, this is what.
But it was written in Gurudev's hand, and it was super sweet. And I can speak from memory what the letter said. He said, I can tell from your beautiful poetry that you are a fragrant flower. You are a beautiful, fragrant flower. I want to pick you and offer you to the lotus feet of Srimati Radhike.
Wow.
So this was my first ever interaction with Gurudev. So of course, my mind was blown. I never had anybody speak to me like that. So I was very attracted to Gurudev. And so, yes, we began a relationship based on letters. And I was just recently found these letters in an old folder in my safe. And I had forgotten that I had them. So I'm super happy that I found them. And I'm honestly blown away by his letters. I can't believe how many letters I got from him and how sweet and personal. And it's just incredible how sweet he is and was. So I'll just read you one now if you like. Okay, I'll read this one here. My dear, darling daughter, Krishna Vallabha, please accept my heartly blessings. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Guranga. All glories to Sri Sri Radha Vinoda Bihari Ji. I received your letter dated November 8th and became so happy to hear from you. I have received so many letters from you, and sometimes I have answered them. I know that you have so much honor, faith in me, and I want to help you in every respect to become a perfect devotee. I want that you come to me for any good auspicious festival like Kartik or Gaura Pranim, and this will give you such a good impression. Now that you've been married to such a qualified husband, you should make a plan how to develop your Krishna consciousness, how to have more association with more advanced devotees, and how to increase your devotional practices. Then automatically you will be able to help others who are interested in Krishna consciousness. There is a secret in preaching or trying to convince others. You may read the pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was visiting Venkataswar, but in South India during the Chaturmas period. First, Mahaprabhu became very good friends with him, and then he told so many good things to them so that they could accept it without becoming offended. Unless we know how to help others, it is better that we remain silent. If people have no faith, then simply they will become offended. So try to be friends first. Make friends everywhere you go. And if you want, you can help them. Regarding your desire to settle anywhere, it is up to you. I want that there is a community of first-class devotees in Baja, and if you establish any good community in Hawaii as well, then I will also be very happy, because at that time I had moved from Baja to Hawaii. Regarding Kam Gayatri, next time when we meet, I will explain it to you. This is something personal and it should not be written in any letter or in public. Whatever I have told you, try to meditate on that. I am always praying that Sri Sri Radha Krishna Yugala shower their mercy on you so that your sadhana and bhajan will become so. My heartily blessings to Radha Vallabha, that's my husband, and to all the other devotees who are in Hawaii.
I have read one of your letters where Gurudev is looking for a boy for you.
Oh, yeah. That's
Shall I share it here?
Yes, it's so sweet.
He said, I've found a very nice boy for you. And you share it on public platforms, so I got it from there.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
You can read it.
I have selected one nice, very beautiful and lovely in appearance, a cowherd boy of Vrindavan for you. And forever you should accept him as your husband. He will never cheat you. For this I can take guarantee. But for all others, I cannot take guarantee that they will not cheat you. So, about the boy you are writing me, you should see for yourself if he is qualified for you or not. And if he is qualified, then you should select and decide. If you do so, and if he is okay, then both of you will come to me and I will bless you. This is all I can do. Yes, I will visit you in your dreams sometimes and give any help and guidance needed for your progress in spiritual life. Up till now, the date for the next tour has not yet been fixed. But anyhow, we have decided that if we will go, then we will start the first week of January. If no financial problems are there, then you can also come and we will inform you about the dates and schedule. I hope that this letter meets you in healthy and happy Krishna consciousness. Your ever well-wisher, Swami B.V. Narayan.
Wow.
I have so many beautiful, sweet letters like this, and I will be sharing them on my Facebook.
So did you see the boy he chose for you?
So the boy, well, actually he chose two boys for me, I'll be honest. So the first boy he chose for me is our dear sweet Lord Sri Krishna, that he told me that I have married you to Krishna. He is now your husband and it's up to him to take care of you. It's just so sweet, isn't it? I mean, it's just unfathomable to even think of such a thing, really, that the Lord even knows I exist is just so unfathomable. And I feel just so eternally blessed to have met Gurudev, to have known Gurudev, to have been in his presence, to have lived with him, to have lived amongst his brethren. I drank him very deeply into my being. Every word was like a moment in eternity for me. There was no time. I had a fully empty heart and my ears were drinking every word, knowing that every moment and every second with him was so important. So I tended to have a relationship with Gurudev that was based on a lot of separation. I had a lot of intimate time with Gurudev at that beginning, before the big crowds came, before the hundreds of thousands of disciples came. I was there and I did get to have a very sweet, very, very many sweet interactions with him, where he said so many amazing things that now I think about and I'm amazed, honestly, at the things that he told me. And I'll try to remember some of these things. Let me think. Let me just look at my notes here. So my birth name was Anita Mengi. I have an Indian name. Anita is a very Indian name. And Mengi is also a very Indian name. It's a Kashmiri name. And he called me, he said, "You are an eater of mangoes." He had such a wild sense of humor. For an eater of mangoes, my name is Anita Mengi. I love eating mangoes. I literally can eat a bucket of mangoes. It's true. I mean, he's just so hilarious because he got me in one go. I'm an eater of mangoes, literally.
Yeah, I have one more letter of you which you shared. Do you want me to share that?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
So another nickname that he had for me, because I just don't want to forget my thoughts, because I'm on a thought. Let me just follow, and then yes, I'd love. So Gurudev just had such an amazing sense of humor, so I want to just get it across. So he said he used to have nicknames for people. He would love to call people names, He loved to play games with people's egos and characters. And he was so charming. Every word was just like a song. Every step was like a dance. It was as if he just drifted across the floor and you were just so blessed to be anywhere near him. And if you got a glance where he looked at you, or if he said anything to you, it was as if breath was taken away. So one of his other nicknames for me was Kashmiri Pandit. He liked to call me Kashmiri Pandit because he said I can argue anyone into the ground. I'd say that he's probably right. And I don't argue to win fights with people's egos. I'm not interested in those kinds of arguments. People who want to battle egos can go and battle egos. I have far bigger fish to fry. I have far bigger issues to face than that, you know. So Gurudev used to give me this name, Kashmiri Pandit, one, because I'm from Kashmir, and two, because I have, he said that I have Bhakti in my veins. I didn't understand what that meant at the time. I thought it was a strange thing to say, but I think that Bhakti flows in everybody's veins naturally. We are made of Sri Radhe's essence. So that divine love that we're made of is in all of us. So it doesn't make me particularly special, but it's a very sweet thing that he told me. And but then much later on, I did find out what he actually meant on another level, is that I do actually have a bloodline that goes back to Lord Kapila Dev, which astounded me. So that explained why he meant like it's in my veins. He would say that any wealth that we ever have, and that wealth that is related to the subtle body, the physical body, the mind, the flesh, the senses, that all of it can be used in the processes of divine love. So these treasures that Gurudev leaves inside the heart that he wants us to share, he used to say to me, don't be shy, you should share everything I've given you, don't be miserly. So, you know, I know that I haven't spoken much about my memories of Gurudev with people other than those people who I know in my personal circle of friends. I feel very unqualified when I'm before all of you, to be totally honest. And my qualification is that I love Gurudev and Gurudev loves me. And this mercy that he instilled in me is very strong, and it wants to be expressed through me, through this flesh. And that's the truth for all of us, is that as we awaken these moods of devotion within this vessel of this body, that we can use this body. How would I like to serve Sri Radhe? How would I like to serve Krishna? How could I make them happy? And before I met Gurudev, honestly, I didn't even know about the goddess. I just knew about God. You know, I lived in the West, and you know, I heard about Krishna and Ram and Shivji. You know, I didn't, or Ganesh. I didn't hear about the goddesses so much in Indian culture, but they are there. But then when I met Gurudev, he is an eternal maiden in the kingdom, serving Sri Radhe at every moment. Every moment he's with her. So even while he's walking with us and talking with us, he's there in the kingdom, walking and talking with them. It's impossible to imagine, but it's true. And Gurudev, one day he was on the morning walk in Hawaii on the beach with his male disciples, and I didn't get to go that day, but my husband was walking behind Gurudev some ways in the back, you know, and he was chanting and, you know, trying to hear what Gurudev was saying. And then Gurudev stopped and he turned around and he waited and he called to my husband, come, and my husband came beside him. Yes, Gurudev. And Gurudev said, you can never repay me for talking to you right now. because right now I am with Sri Radhe in her kingdom, but I'm stopping to talk to you. And when my husband told me this, I just was so astounded. But what does this mean? Even then, it was in seed form that I even understood what this meant. You know, only now am I starting to truly appreciate and understand just how much grace and mercy has come from Golok Vrindavan into the world and into the hearts of so many hundreds of thousands of people around the world. So one time I was in Maui, and I was hosting Srila Gurudev, and I was very excited to put this painting in his room. I had found the artist who had painted this painting. He was living in Maui, and he gave me this painting to put in Gurudev's room. And I was so excited because this is my favorite painting of the Lord. So here I am at, you know, very early in the morning, 5:30 a.m. I think I came into Gurudev's room. He had left to go for a morning walk with his disciples. He was with my husband on the beach that day. That's when he said, I'm stopping to talk to you, but really I'm with Sri Radhe. But I came into Gurudev's rooms and nobody was there. And when I walked into the room where he was sleeping, it was a small room, and the light, it was just beginning, the sun was just rising, so it had a very mystical light, and there was literally saffron particles in the air. The love, the divine love that was in this room was so physically and spiritually palpable. Gurudev had just finished his morning praying and his artis, and all the little ghee wicks were still lit, you know, they were burning in front of the pictures that he had on his altar in his room. And the energy was just thick with something, that same energy I felt when I first went to Gurudev's temple. That energy is the energy of Param Gurudev. Gurudev's heart is Param Gurudev's heart. Param Gurudev's heart is manifesting through Gurudev's heart to all of us. Param Gurudev's energy is super sweet. I never had the privilege of meeting him, but I feel like I am connected to him by some grace through Srila Gurudev. And so the reason Gurudev asked me to write and perform English songs and to study the poetry of Wordsworth and Yeats and Milton is because Param Gurudev would sing English prayers spontaneously, poetry, sometimes of these poets, divine poetry, but spontaneous poetry sung in English. And Gurudev said, oh, when my Gurudev would sing these English songs, he'd go, wow, wow, wow. So sweet. And so he told me that I should sing for him. And he said that I want to take you to dance and sing for Radha and Krishna because I know how much you love to dance and sing. And I didn't at that time know that I could really sing, you know. So he inspired me to sing. But now I understand. He didn't inspire me to sing so that I could, you know, go on tour and become a famous person and make money from my singing. He told me to sing because, one, because Param Gurudev liked to hear singing in English. Two, because I'm also very, very poetic by nature. I understand the language of poetry. It's my language. That's the language that I thrive in. So I guess that's why they chose me to write my book, Woman in Red, Magdalene Speaks, because it's divine poetry. And that divine poetry really was very inspired from Gurudev and Param Gurudev. But so what started to happen was that I started to write English songs and was singing them, and they were very devotional and very moody, very, very moody. And I was always, you know, singing them from a place of trying to serve Gurudev and please Gurudev in some way and uplift people and sing in a way that people who might not even know that I'm singing about God or about Krishna would be attracted in some way to what I was singing about. So I would throw some mantras in here and there, and you know, trying to always draw people towards this path of divine love, because that's what's been planted in my own heart. Okay, now I lost my train of thought. Where was I? See, I've got too many stories. I'm bouncing around. So go ahead. This might be a good time for you to share the letter if you like.
Yeah, I can share the letter, but I want to ask if you would like to sing something, like maybe a few lines which you sang for Param Gurudev and whatever. So, and then we'll see the letter. Yeah, why not?
So Param Gurudev, his energy is just so supremely sweet. And I just felt so drawn to him when I began singing these English songs. And more recently, the deeper that I go in my bhajan practices, the deeper I yearn and pray with tears in my eyes and genuine lamentation because of my separation from the kingdom, from Radha and Krishna, from seeing my eternal family. It's painful to not be with them. You want to be with them and you're not with them, and you're lamenting for them. So this mood is very powerful. And Gurudev told me, one of your tears is worth thousands of lakhs of Harinam. So it's very easy to cry when you're around purity, because that purity hits the heart and you become clean, and you feel good when you're clean inside and you feel pure and innocent. You're restored, your innocence, your virginity is restored in all ways, because you've been touched by the divine in some very powerful way. And so these things are very powerful. So Param Gurudev, he definitely likes to sing very sweetly, and he's taught me to sing very sweetly with a lot of mood. So Gurudev said that we shouldn't sing anything like a parrot. Any parrot can quack, 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 any verse, any song, anything. But if you don't understand what you're singing, why you're singing, and who you're addressing, then you're missing the point. So he said that if I sing bhajans, that he wants me to know word for word translations or not sing them at all. So I did. I learned a few bhajans, but I don't, it was a very long time ago. I haven't been singing them, I'll be honest with you. But what has been happening is spontaneous singing coming through me. And I always feel that love connection with Param Gurudev and with Gurudev when it happens, because I feel that it's them blessing me with the ability to even feel these types of emotions at the time of praying. So let's just take a moment to meditate together on holy name and invoke an experience of God within our hearts, and just let go of all of your problems and all of the things that are weighing in your consciousness of things that you think you have to do. Just drop them all to the ground for a moment and become fully present with me and with our Guru Parampara, with Gurudev, with Param Gurudev, and ultimately with Radha and Krishna, who we are praying to and who we are invoking with the mantra Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva, 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 Guru Deva Jai Guru Deva, Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, oh Jai Guru Deva. Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, oh Jaya Guru Deva. This is Gurudev's sheet. This is the sheet that Gurudev took massage, oily massage every day that he came to Hawaii. And it was given to me when he left Hawaii. And it's literally saturated with oil. It's saturated with his love, with his moods, with his everything. And I'm so grateful to have it, because I was once given a kurta of Srila Prabhupada's that had been worn by Srila Prabhupada a lot. And it was given by a disciple of Srila Prabhupada who had served Srila Prabhupada for many years very closely. And I would sleep at night with this kurta folded up very neatly on my heart. I would pray like this, I would chant like this, and I would feel Srila Prabhupada's mercy and safety. And I found out that one of his disciples, who was the mother of a very dear friend of mine in England, her name was Amekala, and she was a Prabhupada disciple, and she found out that I had been given this kurta. And she was apparently very upset with the man who gave it to me, because she wanted it in her divorce settlement. So, because I really love this family. I sent her the kurta as a gift, and I asked Krishna, if I give this to her, I'll give it very willingly, only if I can have some Mahaprasad from my Gurudev. So I have a nice collection of Mahaprasad from my Gurudev, and this is one of them. Yes, the sheet is drenched in oil. It hasn't been washed since massaged, and it's just pure mercy. And then I have this blanket here, which was would be draped over him when he would receive massage. I have his shoes and some other artifacts. So, and then of course, all of these beautiful letters that we will get to.
So nice to hear your kirtan, and I'm sure the way you sang, this is what Gurudev always told, to know the meaning of the word and to connect with your heart, not just melody, not just, it is not for fun, it is not music, it is kirtan. It is supposed to connect our heart to the higher authorities. And I think you did it so wonderfully. I think everybody must be crying, those who are listening to your kirtan. And really, really, very, very, very nicely done. Even though you just sang Harinam, but Nam has got everything in it. All the love of the world is inside this Nam. And when it is descending from Guru Parampara on the lips of a devotee, pure devotee, then it can create magic. So you are a magician, I must say.
Gurudev was the greatest magician. He was so clever. Like you said earlier, he was here to capture the hearts of everyone. So what was he doing with these hearts? In one letter, I was just reading this morning, in one letter, he said, I have not come to collect so many disciples. I was having a problem with one guru in Hawaii who had some disciples, and I had moved to this island of Maui, and I was preaching to them about the glories of my Gurudev, who was just about to come. And some of these people were about to get initiated by this person. And then I brought them all to Gurudev, and they all got initiated. Many of them, 250 people, I think, altogether got initiated that year. It was amazing. And this person was upset with me because he felt like I had stolen his flowers and given them to Gurudev. So Gurudev was upset with me because I had upset this Vaishnava, Turiya Das, and Gurudev said, I consider him to be my friend. He is like my young son, and I want to help him so much, and I want to help you so much, and how can I help you if you make offenses to anybody? So I didn't feel like I was making offenses, but if I hurt Turiya Das in some way, then I was very apologetic for that, because that was never my intention. My intention was always to give the opportunity to every soul that I ever met to sit before someone who's come into the human world from Sri Radha's kingdom. This is not a soul. This is an eternal being descending for benefit. And that is not something that can be given. That liberation can't be given by somebody who hasn't fully realized themselves within the kingdom of God. And who is fully realized within the kingdom of God? It's a great question. There's a lot of gurus. There's lots of people who claim to be so many things. So Gurudev says that we should be very humble and very tolerant and love everyone and see the good in everyone. He said our minds should be like bees to nectar, not flies to stool. And he taught that if we want to enter into the realm of Bhakti, that holy name is its entrance, and that the Gayatri mantra must be planted in the seed of the heart, in the fertile ground of the heart. The seed of Bhakti must be given from the lips of someone who is realized in that kingdom. This giving of the seed is so important. It's no small thing. It's more important than who you marry. It's more important than anything. You're going to spend eternity with this person, and you want to enter into that realm. You don't want to receive a seed from somebody who doesn't have that seed to give. So this brings me to another thing where Gurudev asked me in Mathura one time, he said, what do you want to do? I said, oh, I was, young and enthusiastic. Oh, I want to go feed all the people who are hungry in the world, Gurudev, and give them prasadam. Okay. He said, I want to give holy name to everybody everywhere I go. And he's like, okay. And what else? And I said, oh, I want to help the homeless, Gurudev. He said, oh, and you have holy name to give? And so I didn't understand what he meant, because I'd come from Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON movement where I was already doing many of these things, and I wanted to continue in these sevas, but I want to do it in a big way. I want to really help people, and I'm genuinely sincere about that, because I feel for people's suffering, and how can one not? And, when you're given grace, like we've been given grace, you have to share it. And the more you share it, the happier you are, and the nicer our world becomes. And the nicer our world becomes, the greater gift we leave to our children and our children's children behind us. So our process of liberation, our process of becoming a pure devotee ourselves is very important. It should not be ignored. Gurudev told me, what is the greatest humanitarian effort? I said, I don't know, to feed people who are hungry. And he said, no, to become a pure devotee. Because only a pure devotee can liberate someone and help them to go back to Godhead, to Golok Vrindavan, to enter into the kingdom of God. So this is another story. Many people back then would ask Gurudev, this was in the early days, people would ask Gurudev, how many lives do I have left, Gurudev? And Gurudev would then, think for a moment, and then he'd come up with some clever answer or a very honest answer. And so it was very fashionable back in the early days to go in and ask Gurudev this question. I didn't know this when I came there, but I became friendly with many of the young people who were there in the temple, my age and younger. And, we all hung out together. We were like a small family. Back then it was super, super sweet in the early days. It was like Gurudev and then a group of maybe 25 or 30 of us, maybe 25 of us who were around Gurudev like regularly everywhere he was going, staying with him in the same house wherever he would go. And we were like the family, boys and girls, living together, girls one side, boys other side, or boys upstairs, girls downstairs, but all living and sharing together very sweetly, everybody cooperating very sweetly with one another, no arguments, no problems. Everything was just always perfect. Every moment around Gurudev was just always perfect. So when I went in to ask Gurudev, the boys, they were all telling me, yeah, you boys, yeah. Well, you know who you are, Jagmohan and Sridham Sakha and Lalit Mohan and so many of the boys that were back there in those days. They all wanted me to go in to see Gurudev. Oh yeah, Damodar Maharaj was there. And he wasn't Damodar Maharaj then. But anyway, they all wanted me to go in and see Gurudev and ask, how many lives do I have left, Gurudev? So I did. And it was fashionable to do that, I guess. And I did want to know. And of course, because, in ISKCON, we were taught in one life, you can go back to Godhead. You just follow the 4 radiative principles, chant 16 rounds a day, and you will go back to Godhead. This was what Srila Prabhupada had, I guess, instilled to give hope in the hearts of the devotees. And Srila Gurudev, he explained that it can take so many lifetimes chanting holy name to leave this world forever. So then he told me how many lives I have left, and I don't want to talk about it because it's too private to me. But I came out of the room weeping because I didn't want to believe that I would ever have to come back here again. I wanted to believe that at the end of this life, I could leave my flesh behind and be done with it and enter into the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, which I crave. And I was really, really sad because he asked me, oh, now I'm all moved in my heart. Sorry, forgive me. He asked me, have you ever eaten meat in this life? I said, yes, Gurudev. I was born into a family of meat eaters. Have you ever had intoxication? Yes, Gurudev. Last night on your roof. I was very, very honest with him because I didn't, he's my guru. You can't hide who you are. You have to be authentic. If you're not being authentic when you're in front of him, then you're not going to get what you want out of the experience. So I told him, yes, Gurudev. And he said, have you gambled? I said, oh, once or twice, playing cards or something. Have you had sex outside of marriage? And I very shamefully said, yes, Gurudev. Not possible in this life, he said. Not possible in this life, but in your next life. He said, I will be with you from babyhood in your next life. And then he told me other sweet things and gave me a lot of hope. But still, I was deeply saddened because I don't want another body. I want to do it in this life. And the reason I still cling to the hope that even though I'm not qualified and even though my flesh had to endure meat and intoxication and sex outside of marriage, that because the soul is innocent and the soul is pure, that with yearning and with tears and praying and mercy, that perhaps Sri Radhe is just so supremely sweet and soft-hearted. She cannot reject us. It's not possible for her to reject us. She is Divine Mother. Whether we think of her that way or not, of course, we're made servants of Sri Radhe. We don't think of her in that way, but she is Divine Mother. She is the source of everything that is feminine in creation, which is everything. The only male is Krishna. Everything else in creation is of her energy, her Shakti. And Sri Guru came to this world to open up the flood banks of Sri Radhe's grace and mercy for the world. And this is his true glory, because Sri Radhe wants to help everyone. We are her children. She wants her praying to fill all of our hearts. Just like how Gurudev gave the example of a child in the womb, that the child is automatically being fed by the mother, and the mother is automatically removing all that is unwanted in the body and the heart and everything. Without even thinking about it, these things are going on for a child in the womb. And so Gurudev compared initiation to this analogy. I asked him once, what happens at the time of initiation, Gurudev? And he said, I will jump into your heart and I will sweep your heart and I will make a beautiful kunj for Sri Radha and Krishna to enter. And I must have had a confused look on my face at the time, because then he said, your heart is like a canvas, and I am painting a beautiful scene of Radha and Krishna of Golok Vrindavan for you upon the canvas of your heart. How is it possible that such incredible sweetness could come out of any person's lips? I had just never heard anything like it. he said that all of this is possible for you if you do not commit any Vaishnava aparad. So I like to speak a lot about Jesus and Gurudev because they both represent this oozing compassion and this merciful way of thinking about humanity and about what's actually going on in the world, and the plight of every living being as it really is. The cows who are being slaughtered, who are weeping for their children, the mothers who are weeping for their babies, the babies weeping for their mothers, the atrocities that are going on in the world that we live in. We would be fools to pretend that we're happy here, that there's happiness here in this world. If we are foolish enough to think that this is happiness, then all I can say is you haven't tasted happiness. Because happiness is divine love. Happiness is seeing God. Happiness is mercy. Happiness is a moment in time where you connect to their world and to their love, and you embody it and you express it through your voice, through your singing, through your kirtan, through your writing, through your dancing, through your imagination. You think of ways that you can develop your eternal seva. How do we serve Sri Radhe? Gurudev came to teach us how to serve Radharani. How is this done? Each of our services is going to be different. We are all individuals, so everything that we express as divine love is going to be done in a unique way. We're not all the same, nor do we have to be all the same. It's our uniqueness that Krishna wants to taste. It's that freshness of our innocent self that wants to love him and reach for him in some way and give him some kind of pleasure, even though we're so unqualified. So if we don't commit aparad, if we don't make offenses to one another, then we enter into this school of bhakti, and we are always students. We are never the master. We will forever be learning this art. So therefore, pridefulness and arrogance is ridiculous in spiritual life. And it must be given up if we want to enter into the realm of bhakti, and we want to enter into the realm of bhakti. So it's very important that we learn how to overcome our lower nature simultaneous to this chanting process. Now, anarta nivritti, this process of cleansing the reflection of the heart, is very powerful. Holy name and Gayatri together are supremely powerful. Like I gave the example of how Srila Gurudev brought a child back to life. And when he did this in Mathura, he whispered something in the boy's ear. Gurudev told me this story. He whispered something in the little boy's ear who was dead on the road. And the boy came back to life. And everyone in Mathura was amazed at Gurudev's power. He performed this miracle like Jesus of bringing someone back from the dead. And then Gurudev, when he was telling me this, when I was living with him in Mathura, and he said, "Do you know what I whispered in the..." Yeah. I said, "No, Gurudev." He said, "Gayatri mantra." Gayatri mantra is so powerful that it can rise someone from the dead. So this leads me to think, how powerful Gayatri Mantra is on us as living souls in the body, in the flesh, who are on this path, who have been given this seed from this pure Vaishnava and from this lineage of pure Vaishnavas who are all maidservants. And they've all come to teach us how to enter into these mysteries of Sri Radha's service. And how do they do this? How do we get to understand what we are to do when we see them before us? This is our process. This is our practices. This is our bhajan practices. This is what we are trying to really realize whilst chanting our Gayatri mantras. We are forming our eternal relationships with people in the kingdom at that time when we chant Gayatri. So it's very important that we give them our full attention. It can't be rushed. Gurudev would sometimes chant Gayatri for hours. We've seen this, many of the saints completely absorb themselves in Gayatri for hours. So I'm always amazed when I see people chanting Gayatri and they do it in like 5 minutes. I'm like, how do they do that? Like, I wish I could do it that fast, but then I don't. I wish I could, because I want more time for myself so I can be selfish and do what I want to do in my life and enjoy my senses and enjoy my life and enjoy my everything, all the facilities of my life. But if we want to go deep, when we invoke these great personalities, we're required to be present with them, and that takes attention and time and presence. It can't be rushed. You simply cannot rush through these mantras. So, some people, they complain that I like to sing holy name kind of slow in a melancholy way, but that's how holy name moves through me. That's my mood of separation manifesting in a way that it wants to. I can't control it. It has to flow naturally and be natural for it to be real. And that takes time and presence. So very important that we take the foot dust of the saints in our line. So this brings me to another quick story that I want to share with you. So in 1996 in England, we went on that first tour that Gurudev took out of India. And honestly, it was amazing. It was the best time of my life. That 1 year that I was with him was the best time of my life. And I think everyone who was there felt the same way. It was just pure magic. So much mercy was distributed to us, to our hearts. It's unfathomable. Anyway, one time in 1996 in England on his first tour, Gurudev wanted to go and take the foot dust of Srila Prabhupada. So he wanted to go to Bhakti Vedanta Manor in Hertfordshire, the ISKCON temple that was owned by the Beatle George Harrison. And he wanted to see this temple and go and take the foot dust of Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada had come there and spent quite a bit of time there apparently. So Gurudev wanted to go. So we went with him very early in the morning, one morning. And there were some things that were very strange about that day. I must admit, very strange things happened. A lot of aparad was made. And I was extremely hurt to see my friends, people who I knew from ISKCON, behave in such disrespectful ways. It broke my heart to pieces. People mistreated me. I was abused. People couldn't understand why I had left Srila Prabhupada's movement to go and take initiation elsewhere. It was extremely painful for me because my heart was completely overwhelmed with devotion for this pure holy master who had drenched me with so much mercy. And yet here these people were offending him, making him feel very uncomfortable, and all of us. So we came into the back door of the temple at the Bhaktivedanta Manor. We were ushered into a room and we were basically locked in a room for about 15 minutes. They locked the door. We couldn't get out of the room. It was Gurudev sitting on a chair, Shamarani Didi sitting there, and the small group of us, 20 of us sitting there. And we could hear the program going on in the temple room, and we were all wondering, this is so strange. Why have we been locked in this room? And people were going up and trying to open the door. The door was locked. Many of us went up to open it. It was locked. And meanwhile, we could hear Guru Puja going on in the temple room. And then after about 15 minutes, Gurudev got up and he just opened the door and walked out of the room like the door had never been locked. And we all followed him, behind him, into the temple room. And Gurudev did full Dandavat Pranams to the Murti of Srila Prabhupada, and we all followed, copied what he was doing. And then he went and he stood to do artik with his eyes of Srila Prabhupada, his Shiksha Guru, who he spent so many years with. There is not one disciple of Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON or anywhere in the world who can claim to have had as much time with Srila Prabhupada as my Gurudev did. Not one person. And here Gurudev is so dear and near and affectionate with Srila Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada asked Gurudev, please go and travel the world and fill my disciples' hearts with your nectar to help people. And Gurudev fulfilled his mission. Gurudev came to the West and he re-inspired so many dormant hearts. And he nourished where we were unnourished. He filled what was empty. He inspired what was uninspired and uninspirable. He did the impossible. He worked miracles everywhere he went. And here these people were offending him in such a blatant way. I was devastated. I didn't expect it. I had no idea about the politics that was going on between camps and all of this nonsense. And it was so hurtful to see my beautiful, saintly Gurudev be treated with so much disrespect. It was painful. So when we left this temple, we walked out through the front of the temple now. And one of the sannyasis from GBC came out and took the garland that he was wearing around his neck off of his neck and went to garland Gurudev with it. And Madhav Maharaj threw it to the ground. And Gurudev put his shoes on and walked briskly to the car. And we all followed. Small group of us followed. Many were still back in the temple, but I was very lucky. I ran after Gurudev. And Gurudev got in the car, and the car was driving very slowly, and I was running after Gurudev's car, running so fast to catch up. So we came to the gates of the main entrance to the temple, and they were closed. It's an electric gate, so it opens automatically when a car comes close. So Gurudev's car paused, and Gurudev rolled his window down, and I ran up to Gurudev's window, and I looked at him, and I was so sad for him. My heart was broken for him that he had been treated this way. His first time coming to a Prabhupada temple in the West, out of India. It broke my heart. And he looked very grave and very sad. But he looked into my eyes with his beautiful big eyes. He glanced at me with a big smile, and he said, just see, Radha and Krishna have come to cheer me up. And in one moment, 2 white swans swooped down out of the sky and landed on the bonnet of his car. They paused for a moment, and then they flew away. And then Gurudev's window rolled back up, and he drove away. Oh my God, I was just, what just happened? What was this? Unbelievable experience. Incredible. So let me see. Do you have any questions for me while I'm looking for something else?
I think you are flowing like a poetry.
Another time.
We're all mesmerized.
Oh, you want me to carry on? Shall I carry on?
So she talked about being not so qualified. And I think we all think that we are not qualified, which is a fact also. And what is the real qualification? This is not disqualification what we are thinking. What is the real qualification is told by Gurudev himself to her in a letter which I'm going to share with you now, where he tells to her what is the qualification. So maybe she will read it for you. Oh, wait. Oh.
Excuse me, just one minute.
Can you see it?
I see it. Can you roll down a little bit? So this is dated October 14th, 1996. This was after the end of his first tour to the West had ended, and he had gone back to Mathura, and I had gone back to London, England to pack up my stuff, and I was going to go and live with him in Mathura at that point. So I wrote to him, and he said, my dear darling daughter Krishna Vallabha, my heartly blessings to you. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga and to Sri Radha Vinoda Bihariji. I received your letter dated 20th of September 1996, and I became so joyful to read it. You are having so much faith in me and are so attracted to hear about Sri Radha and Krishna. Actually, this is the most important qualification for becoming Krishna conscious, to feel attracted to the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. One may be so wretched and full of bad qualities, but when he becomes attracted to hear about the Vrindavan pastimes of Sri Radha Krishna Yugala Kishore, then very soon he will become the best of all persons. I hope you will bring me very soon that most fragrant heart which you are preparing for me, and you can bring more hearts with you. I am a heart collector, and I want many, many sweet, soft, and fragrant hearts, and offer them in a garland to the lotus necks of Sri Radha Vinoda Bihariji. You are writing how you are missing me so much. In the same way, I am also missing you. I want to teach you how to serve Sri Radha Krishna Yugala Kishore. So I hope that we can meet soon. The meaning of Rupa Raghunatha Pade. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Raghu Moro Sada Narotamoda. This Narottam Das is praying, my only hope is to always remain at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Raghunath Das Goswamis. It is therefore by the mercy of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath that one day we may enter into the loving service of Sri Radha and Krishna. I hope this letter will meet you in healthy and happy Krishna consciousness. Ever your well-wisher, Swami B.V. Narayan. So sweet.
So
Who
I would
speaks?
Yeah.
Who speaks? Nobody. Only a maidservant of Sri Radha can speak like this and give this kind of mercy and impression on the heart.
So we all saw what Gurudev said. What are the qualifications to become Krishna conscious? Whatever bad qualities we'll have, they do not matter so much as the good quality that you are attracted to your Guru. I will read this paragraph once again. You are having so much faith in me and are so attracted to hear about Sri Radha and Krishna. Actually, this is the most important qualification for becoming Krishna conscious. We must all note this point. This is what is required to have faith in Guru and to feel attracted towards Sri Radha Krishna. Don't bother what bad qualities we have. All of us have it, and they are of no consequence. When you compare it with the faith in Guru, they will all fly away in a second. Gurudev has that power. And people who have who have faith in him, they have felt this power. Like we can hear today Didi speaking, I'm sure she has felt it very well in her heart, that how all the bad qualities fly away in a second. So the faith in Guru is so, so important. To feel attracted to pastimes of Sri Radha Krishna, one may be so wretched and full of bad qualities, but when he becomes attracted to hear about Vrindavan pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna Yugal Kishore, then very soon he will be the best of all persons. This is written by Srila Gurudev himself, and it is a statement of a Mahabhagavat. So we must all have full faith in what he is saying here, and we must comply with what he's saying. Try to have faith in our Guru, which we are trying to do by doing all these programs, listening to his very dear disciples who are spread across the world and who are so beautiful, what we heard just now. Our hearts are so much longing for Gurudev's love and mercy, and we can see such a beautiful relationship with them, with Guru Parampara, that we are so much blessed to have such talks going with us. Okay, Didi, go on.
Okay. Oh, yes, there's so much more to say, gosh. So what I want to say is that, no one can block you from this. No one can block you from having this relationship with Gurudev. When he was physically present, sometimes you would be blocked from going in. But my experience with him was that if I was blocked physically, someone would close the door, not let me in, close the blinds in my face so that I couldn't look into the window where Gurudev was, and I would be blocked out, and it was very painful and very hurtful, and it would break my heart in a million pieces when it would happen. And I couldn't understand why they wouldn't let me in. I was really heartbroken. But anyway, I would go away and I would chant my Gayatri somewhere privately and be lamenting that I hadn't been allowed to come and pay my obeisances to my Gurudev because people were closing the door on me or closing the blind on me, and it hurt. I had that mamatas with him, that kind of connection. Back in the early days, we could just go and see Gurudev. No one blocked us. We lived with him. We were family. It's like living with your father. You want to have access to your father. But anyway, Gurudev was so clever. No one could cheat him. So I would go and, do my prayers, and then I decided to get up and go and pay my obeisances at the closed door inside the house where nobody was, so no one would see me. And I was bowing down and I was doing my pranam to Gurudev. And then while I was down on the ground, the door opened and Gurudev sat up. Everyone was in the room, and he sat up and he looked at me. And he saw me on the ground, bowing down, looking at him like I was just, And he chuckled. he had this way of chuckling whenever I would walk into a room. He would chuckle. I made him laugh. I guess I'm an eater of mangoes. Maybe he's just like in his head thinking, oh, an eater of mangoes. Something funny going on in his head, but so sweet and so personable. But he would chuckle and his whole belly would go up and down and he would laugh. And then the door just closed. He didn't say anything. Nobody came in and nobody left. The door just opened because my head was at the floor and Gurudev wanted to see, who is this outside my door? So no one can block you from your relationship with Gurudev. Somebody closes a door, another one opens. Our relationship with Gurudev is not based on being physically present. If you have faith in him, if you have received diksha from him, if you have received shiksha from him, if you have received Harinam from him, or even if you just saw him for 1 second, then we have that eternal connection to a maiden of Sri Radhe. Whether we know it or not, whether we want it or not, whether we like it or not, that's the truth.
Nice.
And that is the mercy of a pure saint, of a pure Vaishnava like Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada and our entire Guru parampara. So this separation mood is very powerful for us, and it should be developed. The qualification for bhakti is this separation mood, this yearning. And that yearning, when you sing with that yearning, I know Radhika is watching, she has such a beautiful voice. She has that mood in her voice. I hear it and I recognize it. And this yearning, Manjari Dasi, Manjari also, oh, I mean, you know, when these girls, when we sing like this is why Gurudev wanted me to sing. It wasn't for any reason other than that it's instant connect to the feeling of lamentation and yearning to connect. And that mood very easily can bring those tears that Gurudev said are worth more than thousands of lakhs harinams. So when Gurudev gave me initiation, he told me, I want you to chant 1 pure name a day. So he gave me this benediction because he knew that there would be times in my life when I became a mother, for example, that I wouldn't be able to chant 16 rounds a day or 64 rounds a day or anything. So he gave me some benediction. He said, chant 1 pure name a day. So, or 1 round a day purely, he said. So what does this mean? It means to keep connected with your holy practices no matter what, every day to touch base with that holy practice. No matter how busy you are, it takes 7 minutes to chant 1 round. Everybody can do it. There's no excuses. If you love Krishna, if you want to see Krishna with your eyes, if you love Gurudev, pick up your beads, chant 1 round every day. Don't let it go. Hare Krishna. So this is our lifeline. And Gayatri mantra gives us the opportunity of awakening to our eternal identity. So in order to awaken our eternal identity, we need those tears to come to wash the dirtiness of our selfish hearts. So this separation mood, it just has so much power to cleanse and break open even the hardest of hearts, the stone-like hearts, the stone walls that we build around our egos to protect our egos and try to stay alive in this world and keep the ego alive, you know, but the ego dies with your body. The ego is not who you are. The ego is not who I am. So we have to give it up. And we have to come empty before Gurudev and let him awaken in us our natural love that wants to move through us and express through us in its own unique way. And Gurudev said there should be no restriction with this. If this mood of love is developing and cleaning the heart, then this yearning is sure to bring you what you're asking for, because 50% action begets 50% mercy. The two have to be there. We can't expect the mercy if we don't make the effort. There has to be some effort. But Gurudev told me that bhakti can come in 1 moment with 1 tear. It doesn't have to look a fixed way. It just requires 1 moment of genuine, sincere, prayerful yearning, begging, humility for that to descend into the heart and for our consciousness to awaken. And I really believe that it's that simple. I think we make it more complicated than it actually is. So yes, okay, let's see what else I have here. Oh, lovely story for you. Oh, you're going to love this one. So while I was in India, living in Gurudev's Mutt, I was a big raver. I was in London going to all the clubs and parties and raves that would go on for 3 days. And, you know, I was just really into dancing. I love to dance and sing. Gurudev's right. I do. I want to live my whole reality in a dance. So I used to go to these raves and I'd go for, 2-3 days without eating, just dancing and music to me is kirtan. For me, it's an opportunity to connect to Krishna and to imagine what it would be like to dance for Krishna. And how would I dance if he was there? How would I like to use my body in some way to please him and to glorify him? And it's a very innocent and very humbling experience. And so for me, dancing and singing was just natural. So I came to Gurudev with my little cassette player that I still have. And
sorry, what is that?
A little cassette player. It was 1996.
Yes.
So we used on cassette players back then. So I had my little black box, as he called it, and everywhere Gurudev would go, I would turn this cassette player on and record everything he was saying, especially if it was a darshan or if he was speaking with me. And he said to me, don't record with the black box, record everything with your heart. And I said, well, I'm recording with my heart, but I'm recording with the cassette in case I ever forget. So he stole my cassette player one time from me and he had it under his pillow. And on these cassettes, I had rave techno music, my favorite techno music that I love to groove to and move to and dance to. And when I was washing my saris up on the roof in the mud, I would have my headphones on and I'd be listening to techno music and I'd be just in ecstasy, being in the Dham with my Gurudev, feeling all these feelings, listening to my favorite music, just connecting with Krishna. So this I had recorded over all of my cassette tapes. And my last day, it was my last darshan before I had to go up to Kashmir to see my grandfather. And I was super sad to be leaving Gurudev. And I came with my little black box and it was my last cassette that I had. But this cassette I had spent all night worrying about because it had my favorite music on it. It was my favorite mixed dance tape. And I had recorded over every tape I had. This was my last one. I didn't have any other music left. This was it. And it was my favorite. I was not going to let go of it. But I was going for my last darshan with Gurudev, and I didn't know if I'd ever see him again because I thought he was an old man. I said, oh, Gurudev, what if I don't see you again? I'm so scared I won't see you again. He said, why won't you see me again? I said, you're old and anything could happen. I'm so scared. And he said, oh, don't worry. I will always be with you and I promise you that you will see me again. Anyway, he gave me back my black box, my little recorder, and I came the next morning all night deliberating. I couldn't sleep. Should I record over the tape or do I not record over the tape? Because once that music's gone, it's gone forever. But this is Gurudev, and any moment with Gurudev is like an eternal moment. So I got my black box out. I went for my last darshan. I hit record and Gurudev spoke to me. And then I left by train and by plane to go to Jammu, Kashmir to see my grandfather. And I had to leave Gurudev and I was very sad. And about 10 days into my trip, I got out the cassette player and I turned on that last darshan tape. And you won't believe what's on it. It is Gurudev talking over my techno music.
Oh, both are there.
Both are there.
Wow. Surprising. That never happens, actually.
So it's an impossibility. It's
Wow.
impossible for this to have happened.
You know how much you love the music.
It was another one of the miracles. And Gurudev showed me by this one thing, he gave me so much faith in him, that he was listening to me. He was closer to me than my own soul. He told me, I'm closer to you than your own soul. I am inside of you. When you sing with your heart, I will hear you. So this is why Gurudev wanted me to sing, so that I could feel these feelings in my heart. And I'm very shy about share, even though I'm a performer and everything, I'm actually a very shy person about sharing my realizations and my music, my singing. But it's Gurudev's wish, so I do it. I force myself to do it, but it's not comfortable, but it's beautiful. And I'm really grateful and happy to have this gift of song and music in me. And I am dedicated to serving Gurudev, and I'm dedicated to serving Sri Radha in any way that I can. And so for a long time, I really resisted the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because I'm just really one-pointed about Radha and Krishna Leela. I always have been. So it's very hard for me to divide my mind and say, okay, I'm going to put some time over here. I don't want to. I've been very stubborn about it for my whole life. And then recently, I had a huge breakthrough in my spiritual life where it was revealed to me that why I'm stuck is because I have to go through the Leelas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it's not for the reason that I thought. It's because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is embodying Radharani's love for the Lord. And that love is uncontrollable, it is untamable, it is unfathomable, it is worrying. And all of the people around Mahaprabhu were very concerned for his safety, because he would throw his body into the water to drown, unawares of his external consciousness at all, completely unaware of what his body was doing. And it was up to the maidservants of Sri Radhe, who descended into Mahaprabhu's Leela, to guide him and protect him while Krishna got to experience what it feels like to love him. He's so sweet and so crooked and so innocent and so charming and beautiful. He doesn't know what it feels like to love him. So he wanted to know, well, what does it feel like to love me? Why do they all behave like this when they're around me? I want to know what that feels like. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, here's Krishna experiencing her moods for the first time ever, because he's not a Manjari. He doesn't know what Madanakya Mahabhav feels like, because he's not a Manjari. Only Sri Radhe and the Manjaris experience that. So Krishna got to experience that as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, we as aspiring maidservants of Sri Radha get to see what her moods are when she's in separation from Krishna in the kingdom. And that is how we can think with our magical, creative minds. How might we wish to soothe her when she's in that state? How could we help her? What can we do to help this experience get better for her? How do we keep her safe? How do we soothe her spirit, her fiery spirit, which has lost all sense? She's completely immersed in divine madness. at those moments, that's where the manjaris spring into action. And this is what we are meant to be wanting to do with this mind, with this imagination, with our consciousness, with our awareness, with our prayerfulness, with our invocations, with our yearning spirit, that as we do these things, that consciousness will develop. We have to have faith that it will develop there within the kingdom. Gurudev has promised it. I found other letters this morning that I was reading to my husband. I'm going to share them this week on Facebook, and over the next couple of weeks I'll share them. They're so sweet. And Gurudev talks about how this Yugala Kishore manifests within the heart, and how this process really is given to us through Sri Rupa and Raghunath. So Sri Rupa and Raghunath are Rati Manjari and Rupa Manjari, who came from the spiritual world into this realm of human beings to again guide those who are truly sincere and want to enter into these mysteries of the goddess, that we can do this through their grace and their mercy. And so Gurudev, he taught us to see the glory of the Samadhis in Vrindavan. And I mean, I was only with him in Vrindavan and Mathura. I didn't get to go to Navadvipa Puri with him. I really hope to go one day soon. But in Vrindavan, there's just so many Samadhis of these maidens who came to earth, and in their Samadhis they are eternally in meditation, in service to Sri Radha, inside of their tombs, eternally. They never leave, they're always there. That means that when we go there, either physically or with our minds, at the time of our chanting, that grace and that mercy that they have in their meditation is made available to us just by our bowing to them and our asking them for their blessing and for entrance into these mysteries of divine love. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the doorway for us, because that's how we learn what our eternal service is for Sri Radha. That's where we get to use our imaginations and think. In the spiritual world, because everything is wish fulfilling, chintamani, it's limitless. Your imagination, the ways in which you can serve are limitless. You can have millions of harmony voices. You can have limitless colors in the sky, shooting arrows down upon everybody's hearts that give everyone higher bliss when it hits the heart. It's limitless what we can imagine, how we can serve their environment and offer our imagination upon the altar of our thinking power. These are very deep things that I'm sharing with you, and I'm not sharing them with you to show off or to be arrogant or to people think any certain way about me, or think that I'm more advanced than anybody or more special than anybody. I'm not. We're all created equal. We're all brothers and sisters in front of God. And we're all created the same. So what is in me is in you. What Gurudev gave to me, he gave to you. It's time that we have to die to these egos. So I really throw my ego down on the ground, and just, my sharing is just a very honest and open sharing, and there's no formality to anything that I do, and I don't look the part and I don't dress the part, and there's lots of reasons why, but that's my business and no one else's. And I just truly believe that Bhakti has nothing to do with what you're wearing or what your hairstyle is or what color you are, or whether you were born in India or whether you're a man or not. All of these things, My last darshan with Gurudev was in Orlando. right before he passed away, and I knew he was leaving. I knew he was leaving. Everyone else was saying he wasn't leaving, and I was like, I knew it. I could tell. I could tell just from the way he was looking at me, the way he was talking with me, the things he was saying in class. So this one time, I had this very telepathic relationship with Srila Gurudev. I think lots of us did. It was profound. There was no separation. He could hear every thought that was inside of us, inside of my head. So it's not worth trying to hide anything from him. He told me once, when I told him that I had a problem with a drug taking, I was taking a lot of marijuana and smoking my Didis. So I told him, and he was so pleased that I told him, that I revealed to him what was going on with me, that I was honest with him. And he told me, this is what he said to me: when I first came to my Gurudev, I had a problem. And I came to my Gurudev and I told him what this problem was. He told me what that problem was, but I'm not going to repeat it because it was private to him. He said, I told Gurudev I have this problem. And Param Gurudev every day came and did this Reiki-like movement over Gurudev's heart and said, don't worry, I will remove it from you. So every day Param Gurudev was doing this to Gurudev until the problem went. And then Gurudev never had the problem again. And Gurudev told me, now that you've told me about your problem, every day I will do this to you until you have this, no more have this problem. So every day, Gurudev at some point in the day would come up and do this little Reiki movement over my heart, like he was removing something. And then one time, okay, so I came from the music industry. My history is a little weird. I grew up in London. I left home very young. I got a job very early working for pop stars like Whitney Houston and the Thompson Twins and Nick Hayward. That was like my first job at Arista Records. And then I became a booking agent and I worked with hundreds of extremely famous rock stars. And I traveled all over the world with them. And I got to hang out with them and go clubbing with them and party with them and go on their jets and their limos. And I lived the life for a while there.
One sec. You're going too fast now. I think now you're telling the real stuff, how you started.
Yeah.
Do you have some of those pictures or videos of your dance, or do you want to see how Gurudev Mercy works on a girl like you? Because most of our friends nowadays are like what you are doing that time. So just to let people know what Guru Mercy is. Yes. That he can change a druggy girl like you who is taking who is into pop star music, dance and Bollywood and whatnot, and how the mercy works. And look at it, how you're speaking now.
So, it was like this. So
if you want, yeah. You can share some of those pictures, or you can send me, I will share it with, or I can make you a post.
Definitely do that. It's in my temple room. I have like a wall where I have a frame thing with all of my awards and people I worked with. I can take a picture of it and send it to you some other time if you like. But anyway, so I basically had a lot of heavy metal and rock music that went into these two ears of mine. So when I came to Mathura, to Gurudev, I got a really bad fever. And I had two ears that were aching like pain to my core. I had green pus pouring out of both of my ears. I had to put tissues in there to stop it from oozing. It was horrible. And it smelled so foul. And I was so embarrassed because, you're in an ashram and you're surrounded and people are everywhere. And, I was very ashamed and I was very unwell. And Gurudev was very worried about me. He said, I'm very worried about you. You have to go see my doctor. So he sent me to his homeopath. And then a couple of days later, are you getting better? No, Gurudev, I don't feel well. So then he said, you have to go to hospital. So then I went to the hospital and I stayed there and they gave me antibiotics and it cleared up. And I came back and he said, are you okay now? I said, yes, Gurudev, thank you. He said, well, what went in had to come out. I had to get it out somehow. And so I understood that all of this poison that had gone into my ear, which was, now that I think about it, was actually a lot of devil worship. I didn't realize it at the time. But, you know, now that I think about the bands that I was working for, they sang a lot about the devil and about evil and about Satan and about hell. A lot of those bands were doing that, you know, but then many of them also weren't doing that I was working for, like Bon Jovi and Aerosmith, you know, they were lighter kind of rock. But the heavy metal thing was, you know, it was definitely in my ears big time. So he drew it out of me. And what's the reason why he did that? Because he had to pull out the poison so that the nectar could come in. So this brings me to the next realization, is that bhakti is the goal. It's got nothing to do with anything except for, in one moment, crying out for mercy and begging for entrance, and allowing that to manifest at its own sweet time through that praying mentality. And that is the only qualification, and it's the only experience we should be chasing when we pick up our beads or when we sit to chant Gayatri, however that looks. So this was, Gurudev knew that I was so attached to the music. So when he put his voice over my techno music, after all of this, that he had cleaned out my ears, he'd cleaned out my heart, he'd given me everything that I needed to realize. And then he told me, I've given you everything that you need, now go away and realize it. And I knew from that moment on that my life in separation from him was very long and very intense. I only got to see him, you know, once every few years when he came to whatever place I was living in. And, you know, and then there were lots of crowds. It was harder to get any time with Gurudev per se, but always he found a way to have a moment where he got to say something incredibly profound and sweet to me. And all of those experiences are very much etched on my heart. And I really want to share all of these things with you because they're just so supremely sweet, and they just give us so much hope that no matter how much time we had with him, that that this is truly possible for anyone. So one time, before my husband had met Gurudev, I had met my husband, and I'd written to Gurudev that I was getting married, and he blessed me and said, okay, if he's qualified, then very good. And so I married my husband, and we were living in Hawaii together. And my husband was a very powerful yogi who had been a sannyasi for many years, living in a Mayavadi yoga ashram in Massachusetts in America. Living under the guidance of a guru who goes by the name of Yogi Amrit Desai. So my husband then met me after his guru fell down and had a big shameful big leave, and my husband's faith was shattered and his heart was broken. And then he met me, and he told me, I said to him, well, you know, I really don't want to get involved with anybody unless I'm going to be married, you know. And he was a very noble person, my husband, like me, you know, we're very similar that way. We're very chaste, and we, you know, really wanted to have that pure connection. So we wanted to wait to be together until we were married. So we married, and then he got a terrible bout of vertigo where he could not stand up. He was so dizzy all over, his whole body was spinning, and he couldn't move. He was terrified, and I just didn't know what to do. We'd literally just got married. I had no idea what to do. So I phoned Gurudev, and he was in India. I said, oh, Gurudev, my husband is having this terrible vertigo. He's so dizzy. I don't know what to do with him. Can you please help him? So Gurudev came on the phone to my husband, and he said, what is going on? What kind of sadhana do you do? So my husband, Robin, said, I do pranayam and yoga, Gurudev. And Gurudev said, you must give it up immediately. This Kundalini activation, pranayam, is very dangerous. Give it up immediately and develop your pure love for Krishna. And then Gurudev told me, bring him to me. So I brought him to Baja, and when he met my husband, Gurudev, this was the second boy that Gurudev married me to, because Gurudev, he put his arm around my husband and he looked at me with a glint in his eye and he said, so do you like who I chose for you? So my Gurudev brought this man to my life to give me the protection that I need in this world, because this world is dark and scary for an innocent soul. And my husband gave me this shelter, this protection. He gave me his undying love and the shelter of a sacred marriage that is not based on anything other than respect and friendship and love for one another. And we've gone through this life 25 years married, and Gurudev told me, never divorce. You should never divorce. If you divorce, then men will only ever want to have sex from you. No one will ever love you like he loves you, so stay with your husband. And that's been the glue that kept us together through everything that we've been through in our life. Of course, marriages have ups and downs, but this glue that Gurudev gave me, this security, has allowed me to blossom in my spiritual life that otherwise wouldn't have happened, because when you're a woman in this world and you're thrown about by the waves of men's lust for you, it can be very scary, and you can get into some bad situations. And I did, in my life, I was placed in some very frightening situations in my life. And Gurudev, when I met him, he just knew all the pain that I'd been through. And that's why I was so eager to put my heart so fully to this path of Bhakti Yoga, because I probably needed a lot of therapy. I had a lot of trauma, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And so drugs and dancing at raves was a way that I coped with the trauma that I was having, because I would take drugs and my heart would open, or my mind would open if I took something. So I realized, oh, that's who I really am. That's who I want to be. I want to feel this kind of joy, this kind of love, this kind of ecstasy, this kind of way of thinking about God and about creation. And so, Gurudev stopped my husband's head from spinning in one moment. Vertigo stopped. My husband gave up his spiritual practices. And then he said, my husband said, I'm never going to be a Hare Krishna devotee. You need to accept me as I am. And I'm like, listen, I'm not marrying a non-devotee. It's not going to happen. So let's just see what happens in the next 3 months. This is before we were married. So I began offering all of my prasadam to Gurudev. Every day I offered my prasad to Gurudev, and then I fed my husband with this food. And then, I think by week 3, he was wearing neck beads and he was chanting holy name on the beach.
Wow. Wow, beautiful.
So the power, Gurudev's power is limitless. If we put faith in him, he can create every miracle and bless us with everything we want in one moment. One glance is all it takes. Sometimes I used to sit in front of him and I would look at him and telepathically I would say, just give it to me. Just give it to me. Just look at me and just give it to me. I know you can do it. Just give me the look. Just give it to me in one moment. I used to do this, Gurudev was just so funny and so playful, and he was so charming and so clever how he developed that telepathic relationship with me. And on this last time that I saw him, I telepathically said to him, Gurudev, telepathically, I'm saying, Gurudev, every time you look at me through the class that you're speaking, I'm going to write down the word that you spoke when you looked at me. And at the end of it, I want to see what you said to me. And so through this whole 2-hour-long class that he gave, every time Gurudev looked in my eyes, I wrote down the word. And at the end of it was this unbelievably beautiful, sad, sorrowful, lamentful poem of how Gurudev was leaving us. He was preparing to die, and I knew he was leaving. And he was giving me my final message in a cryptic, poetic, crooked, clever way that is just unfathomably beautiful. And it's just, that's the magical man that he was. That's the magic of Gurudev's mercy, and how I got to see his magic firsthand, and how, you know, the miracles that he could perform. All of these things that I shared with you, they're just miracles. And so Shamarani Didi, one time she told me that Gurudev has the power to create and destroy universes with his mind. I couldn't quite fathom, like, what does that mean? This Gurudev told me once, I can read everybody's faces. He said, I can see past, present, future of every life. Just so astounding to meet someone who is so genuine and so real and so authentic. And that's the barometer for us. That should be the barometer for us. The barometer of bhakti should be love and affection. Gurudev embodied that love and affection so perfectly. He taught me how to treat people with love and affection. So, like when we were in San Diego and we were staying at a Franciscan monastery, and Gurudev wanted to go for a morning walk, and I got to walk behind him this day, and I was stepping in his footsteps. He was walking in front of me and I was walking behind him, and there was a monk who was bowing down in the grass, and he was doing some gardening, and he was in his robes, and he saw Gurudev coming, and he came up and he stood before Gurudev and he said, I can see you're a holy master. Please tell me what I should do with my life.
Wow.
And I was standing behind Gurudev, and as I was walking behind, I felt like Mary Magdalene walking behind Jesus. That's the only way I could describe what that felt like. And Gurudev looks at the monk very gravely, and he says, with a big smile on his face, become like Jesus. And then he blessed him like this. And I saw in that moment how Gurudev moved through this world so peacefully and so elegantly, without jarring anyone, without needing anyone to convert to his way of thinking. All he wanted to do was give grace. And he inspired all of us. He told all of us, become the living example of perfection within your own religion. So if you're a Christian, become like Jesus, live like Jesus, think like Jesus, pray like Jesus, worship like Jesus. If you're going to be a Vaishnava, then pray like Gurudev, sing like Param Gurudev, write like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, sing like Narottam Das Thakur, sing your kirtan as if you're dancing with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and enter into your eternal reality within their worlds. This is what we are here for. This is what this mind is meant for. This is what this life is meant for. This is what Gurudev came to give. This is the same message of Srila Prabhupada. It's the same message of all of our Vaishnava acharyas. And it is the same message of every saint, pure saint from every religion around the world, that divine love and the kingdom and crying for God are all we should be focused upon. And anything that's not that is a lie. And the only person delaying our progress into that reality is us. And it's our lack of consciousness and our lack of willingness to be conscious during prayer time, during Japamala, during what we're doing. That's how we receive the grace of Srila Gurudev. Gurudev used to say that when we suffer at the hands of others, when people are mean to us, when they hurt us with their words, when they leave us, they break us, they rape us, they murder us, whatever it is that is happening to each of us is happening by our own left hand punching us. Gurudev used to say, you should see all suffering with your own left hand punching us. So through this one teaching, I was able to give up a lifetime of suffering, a lifetime of anger and hurt and frustration. I gave it up in one moment, because when you understand that all suffering came from your own karmic wheel, then there is no blame. There's nobody to blame for what you've gone through. What happened to you was meant to happen because you are supposed to receive a certain amount of suffering because of the certain amount of suffering that you have caused either in this life or previous lives. And this karma is causing us to constantly be punched in the face. So eventually an intelligent person just says, enough. I will no longer take this punishment from my stupid mind, and I will place my mind where it belongs, which is at Gurudev's feet and at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Govinda. And I will place my heart, my soul, my mind, my body, my everything, my awareness, all of my life is dedicated to this. And that experience is the goal for all of us. So when we have to transcend this left hand punching us, it's very difficult. So how do we do this? We can go to therapists. Can the therapist really help us to alleviate the burden of our sufferings? Absolutely, to some degree, they can cut some of the ties and help you cope. But the roots of your pain cannot be dissolved by anything except bhakti. And bhakti does it as a side effect. When you're touched by bhakti, all of these sins and weaknesses and addictions and illusions, they melt away in the waves of Sri Radha's grace. It's not forced, it's natural. So this process should not be underestimated. I could never afford any therapy. I should have probably had some, and I probably needed it because of my traumas, my dramas, my karma. But at the end of the day, every one of those wounds has given me a great directive and inspiration to transcend suffering and to eternally reside where I actually want to be, not here in this world where we have no friends. Gurudev said, I have no friends in this world. And so he wrote to me that you can help devotees who are less than you, who know less than you, who don't yet know things. You make friends with people who are your equal, and you take association and guidance from those who know more than you and who have gone deeper than you. So how do we distinguish who is who and what is what, especially if we don't want to have a judgmental, critical mind? So how we distinguish is it's not a judgment thing, it's discernment, that we know where we're at. We have to be honest with ourselves. We know where we're actually at on the ladder of bhakti. Where we want to be is here, where we are is here. Now, yes, there's a gradation and there are things down here that we've left behind. So it's our duty to reach back from where we are and pull people up to at least the level that we have attained. And this should be given freely unto all. We should not be greedy or miserly with it. We should give it freely unto all. And there should be no money involved. It should not be about anything to do with the ego. It should not be about how many followers we have, or what positions we have, or what titles we have, or what we're wearing. These things are utterly superficial to bhakti. So they must be given up. These judgments have to be dropped. For the golden age to truly blossom in the hearts of all people around the world, the only way Mahaprabhu's movement is going to spread all around the world and fulfill all the prophecies is if every wall that has divided us falls to the ground in the name of divine love. And that can only happen when we embody kindness and compassion and understanding, and see with the broader vision that people like Gurudev embodied. And we saw that he would tell a Franciscan monk, become like Jesus. He didn't say, follow me, become my disciple. In one moment, he gave exactly what he needed to follow the path. There you have it. Follow your path, be authentic to yourself. Follow your path. Bhakti has nothing to do with the externals. We need to close our eyes to every illusion about ourselves and every illusion about others. We have to let go of all of it. And when we hurt others with our words and our thoughts and our criticisms, we hurt ourselves.
One more thing I want to ask you. You have sent a very lovely picture with Srila Gurudev, which we are going to put it on the thumbnail. He's sitting on a bench and you're sitting down.
Look at my ears.
Can you hear me?
Can you see what's in my ears?
Actually, I did not notice maybe. What is there?
Put the photo up on the screen and look at my ears.
Okay, let me see. So I wanted to ask you about that photo. Where is that photo from? Which place? And what is the setting like?
That was taken in San Diego. That was when we were staying at the Franciscan monastery in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
The year, I think it was 1998, if I'm correct. And once again, I had ear infections and more green pus was coming out around Gurudev. So all of the movies I had watched between now and then was coming out of my ears, and any Maya that had gone into my ears. See, I have the little cotton ball.
Yes. I thought that's a earring.
No.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes, you have that cotton in your ears.
Yes, cotton in my ears. So sweet. What a moment in time. The most beautiful moment of my life, sitting before my Holy Master. And now that I think about it, there's so much that I would like to have done for him and said to him and expressed to him and shown to him and asked him that I didn't, because I was so afraid and I felt so unqualified. And I regret not having said many things, but I did get to express these things in letter form. And so this is why I wrote so many letters to Gurudev. And Gurudev was very kind. He always replied. He always sent these super sweet letters back to me. I'm just like utterly amazed. They're just, and every one of them is just so filled with nectar. And
how
so
many of them you have? How many are there?
I don't know, but there's a lot. I mean, not a lot, but, you know, a really good amount. And I'm so grateful. And they're so sweet. Every one of them is so personal. And I feel like now that I'm rereading them, I'm rehearing them, and I'm hearing them now as my 55-year-old self, not as my 23-year-old self. So, you know, it's a completely different way of listening now to these teachings and these wise words of my Gurudev.
You want to say something more?
Yes, sure. So I'll tell one last story. When we were in Badger, we took a very long walk through the Sequoia National Forest. This was in 1996. It was his first time ever coming to Badger. And he wanted to go and see the trees that had been standing for 5,000 years. So he's very grave and he's chanting Harinam, and a group of us were following him through the forest, following along the path around the trees. And we came to a fallen, hollowed out tree, a very, very, very large tree that you could literally walk through. And Gurudev said, "Come with me, we're entering into the mouth of Aghasura." And so we followed him through this hollowed out tree, like skipping like children and singing holy name. We came out the other side and Gurudev was grave again. We went back to the car, the van, and because I would always like to stand right where Gurudev was, I always liked to be as close to him as I possibly could, because those saffron rays were very addictive and very powerful. So I wanted to be as close to him as I could. So he went back to the car park and I had followed him. I was right there, and there was nobody there. I think maybe one other person, and a Sikh man was there. And he had come there for a walk, and Gurudev was talking to him, greeting him, giving him blessings. And then Gurudev said, "These trees have been standing for 5,000 years since the time of Lord Krishna, and now I have liberated all of them." So again, this was another of these experiences where I got to witness firsthand the magnanimous vision of a pure devotee descending into this world. They don't think anything of themselves. They are always thinking, how can I help the environment? Who is here? What is here? The animals, the birds, everything in creation, all of these souls, limitless souls in so many different difficult situations, that Gurudev would see all of it at every moment through his millions of eyes. Every pore of his body was like an eye. He has all of the grace of God within him, the creative power within him to see everything and everyone, and the truth of all living beings. So to have sat before such a holy master and to be loved by someone from that world is so overwhelming and so humbling. I think it's very hard to maintain one's ego when one dives into these mysteries. And I think that's the barometer for us, is that when we see someone who's been touched like this by Srila Gurudev, or is like Gurudev, that their love and sweetness and affection will be profound. And it doesn't have to look in any particular way. Bhakti is like a crooked flowing river. It goes where it goes. And people have tried to box it in and control it and say it's this way or it's that way, or it's only with these people, it's only with those people, when in fact none of these things are real. And those are the illusions that we've all subscribed to. We were all told to believe in these illusions by our parents, by our churches, by our teachers, by our temples, by our gurus, by our friends. Everybody tells us what we should be thinking and what we should be believing. But in reality, it's all a lot of nothing. There's nothing here that's worth tasting, and that's the truth. I've tasted it all. I've tasted everything. There's nothing I haven't tasted in this world. And so I speak from personal experience. I've overcome the impossible. And it happened in a moment. It was one moment, that's all it took. So that one moment is always readily available to all of us. So this is, try very, very hard to sing the beautiful stavas and stutis and prayers and make up our own prayers like Param Gurudev, and just be one with your love for God and express it to him in poetry. Just sing it to him. Tell the Lord how you feel. Cry to him with your voice. And that yearning will be very natural, and those tears will be very natural, and the Lord just can't resist where love is being presented. He can't resist it. He's just so sweet. But more than this, Sri Radhe is even more supremely sweet. A mother can never reject a child, so that mercy can never be blocked with our mother. So if we reach to her like innocent children, the innocent children that we are before her, we can pray, oh my dear Sri Radhe, even though I am so unqualified, and even though there are so many millions of faults within me and within all of us, that by your grace, that we might be made whole again in perfection, in memory of how we were created out of your perfection. And may that moment where we may see you with our divine eyes come very quickly to all of us, because it's very painful to be separated from such beauty. And we are all wanting and yearning to see you with our eyes. So please deliver us from the evil that we have subscribed to, the misunderstanding of the ego. It was an innocent mistake, but it must now be given up so that we can truly start to enter into the mysteries that Gurudev and our Guru Parampara so carefully planted into the world. So anyway, I'd like to end there if that's okay. It's been super fun sharing these stories, and I'm sure I rambled an awful lot. I do tend to do that.
I think this is the longest session we have ever done.
Oh no,
it's 3 hours, and I didn't come to know about the time, but it is worth it, very much worth it. I'm so grateful to my Gurudev that on his disappearance day, which is approaching in 2 days, he has presented me with such beautiful disciple of hers. Of him, I did not know anything. I did not know who she is, where she lives, what she does. Out of the blue, he has popped her up, and she has come here and spoken for 3 hours, her heart out. And very, very honestly, she has spoken without being any duplicitous. As you can see from her talks, that from the very beginning, she was never duplicitous, which is the most important thing in bhajan. And one more thing, I have a connect with her, which I'm going to tell you now, while she was telling me. I think when the Gurudev was cutting her bands in her hand, I was sitting there in that place. Yes. And when there was a commotion on the roof, I was there in that mud in 1995 December. And I was part of that commotion, that who is this druggy lady? And people were talking so much about it. Some girl has come from somewhere. She's on the roof, she's doing this, and we caught her. And look at that lady now. Those guys are still there. And that lady who is smoking on the roof has reached where she has reached. So it is not without connection that you are here. Krishna Rose Didi. We have some connection, and I was witness to all those things which you were talking. I could remember them, and I remember I was a young boy that time, maybe 27, 28 years old, probably. I'm just a few years younger to you. I'm 53 now.
I loved hearing that. Oh.
So we just saw how the mercy of a girl who is involved, who is having drugs, who's addicted to marijuana, everybody is talking bad about her, how Gurudev can cut her bands in her hands of this worldly connections, and look at her, how poetic way she has described all the things. I have written here 2 full pages, probably what she's spoken. And I'm going to share all this on the description in the YouTube. I'll upload all these things, what I've shared. So many gems she has spoken. And if we hear it carefully, it can change our lives. The very first things I started, I know it's late, but I want to speak. She said, I wanted something like Prabhupada, no one else. So this is the conviction we should have. We always compromise on what we want. We do not want the real thing, actually. So we don't get the real thing. We're just looking for makeshift arrangements, makeshift gurus who make us feel proud, and we get them. So it is what you want, you'll get it. So the very first thing she started today is, I wanted something like Prabhupada or no one else. This is the firm conviction we must have. And she got someone like Prabhupada and no one else, because that's what she wanted. God is very merciful. He gives us what we want. But because we want stupid things, that's why we keep getting punches from a left hand, what she described. So very beautifully she described how she prayed to Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi. Now, this is also, we must understand, she has deep realization and she has spoken about it so openly. How Samadhis have, these maiden from Krishna's world are there all the time to give us mercy. So if we ever want anything, we should go to Samadhi and fall there and ask and pray, like what she had prayed. And she was about to go back to America, probably, I don't know where, America or London. And she prayed, and imagine at the last moment, the help came.
With your mind, every day go to the Samadhis, every day with your mind. You don't have to go there physically, go there with your mind. And even if you've never seen these Samadhis, with your mind, you can imagine where they are. Think of Sri Rupa, think of Sri Raghunath, think of these personalities. They are real, they are activated, they are waiting to bless you. And the minute you think of them in their Samadhi, boom, you're connected. I'm sorry.
That's very nice. So Didi is talking out of her realization. So it is not mere words spoken from a book or by hearing somebody. This is a realization of a bhakt, of a devotee who has seen it all. What we are craving to see in this world, what you're dying to see, what you're dying to earn, where we're investing our lives, she has seen it all. And she has given a conclusion at the end. I have many things to say in between, but I'll just read what she said at the end. She said, there is nothing here that is worth tasting. I have tasted it all. This is not from a book she's reading. This is from the life which she's experienced and she's telling.
100% true.
So, but we are trying to taste the same thing again and again. It is how foolish we are that we are trying to taste. And here we have a person who is telling us, I have tasted it all, there is nothing in it. That nothing as tasty as what Gurudev has given her, as the honey what she's tasting now, as the deep realization she's having now, as the river in which she's flowing now, in the ocean she's drowning. So this is what she has now for us. And she has given some of it, not all. She has got much more. There is no end to this jewels which you have in your heart, who has come in touch with Gurudev. Only a very small thing we can see today, what she has spoken. So she has spoken a lot of good things, a lot of very good things. And when she prayed at the Samadhi, the help came. And she was taken to Gurudev straight away, directly. No, nothing in between. So look how the praise was answered. And then when she went there at the door only, she felt that I have come to the right place. At the door, imagine, Gurudev is somewhere far. And look at his energy radiating. And look at the disciple who is ready to receive. Not everybody feels like this. I'm sorry. You may not feel like this because you do not have that craving in your heart. But if a disciple has craving, if a person has craving, he will feel the energy at the door itself. And she felt. And Gurudev, it's not that Guru is not feeling. He is also feeling somebody has come at my door. And he's ready to receive. It is both ways. It is not one way. It is love is both ways. It is reciprocated even more. That's why Krishna says, Ye yathamam prapadante tansthai bhajamyaham. As you come to me, I will come even more to you. But yeah, at least take a step. And you know what Gurudev said first? You, who are you? Where have you come from? He knows already. And he's saying, I have been waiting for you so long. Look, he has been hearing all the prayers which she was doing at Samadhi, which she was doing wherever. And he said, I've been waiting for you so long. You are, then what the first thing he asked? Imagine, look at the Guru's power. He said, are you qualified? He already knows she's qualified because he's not looking at what she's smoking. He's not looking at how she's dressed up. He's not looking at her hair. He's looking at her heart's feeling, and he knows for sure she's qualified. That's why he asked, are you qualified? And that's what she answered also. Yes, I'm qualified. Look at her answer. I mean, I was zapped to see the answer like, no, nobody dare answer like him. But look at her. She said, I'm qualified. And she is very much, I think. Yeah, you want to say something?
I didn't tell him I felt qualified. In my heart, I felt qualified. But everybody else was saying, no, I'm not qualified. But in my heart, I was saying, yeah, I feel qualified because I want it.
Yes, you are qualified because Lolyam, the greed is the only qualification in this path, not anything else. Lolyam api, what is the shloka? I forgot. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate. Lolyam yapi mulyam ekalam. If you find Krishna bhakti anywhere, purchase it immediately. What is the cost to purchase it? Only Lolyam, nothing else. This will buy you that Krishna bhakti, only the greed to buy it. And you have the greed, so you are qualified. And Gurudev asked you the right question, and you had the right thought in your mind. But what will others understand? They will say you are not qualified because they see only outside. They will never understand. They will always see you are unqualified. But Gurudev knows how qualified you are. And the people who look qualified, Gurudev knows they are useless. He also knows them. But he is so merciful, he will still keep them with them close to the heart, because he also knows someday they will become qualified, maybe after many births. So nobody is unqualified for a guru like ours. Anybody who goes to him, in whatever state he goes to him, he will embrace him, provided we only go to him. So very nice. And he said, I've been waiting, you are qualified. And very nice statement. Entire spiritual family who is surrounding us with their mercy. Entire spiritual family surrounding, ready to be merciful on us. Look at the statement, how profound. Not only our Gurudev, all our Acharyas looking at us. When will this guy turn towards us? They are waiting for the day. But look at our foolishness. We have so much help available around us all the time because we are connected with this parampara.
Illusion is very powerful. Maya illusion is very powerful in this world. It can't be underestimated. But that's why when we cry out for mercy, the illusion is just squashed.
Very right. Maya is very powerful, but not powerful than Mayapati. That's why Krishna says in Gita, he says, Devi hi esha gunamai mam maya duratya. He announces to the world, Devi hi esha gunamai mam maya duratya. This Maya, it is my Maya. It is not anybody else. I have created, and it is very difficult to cross it. I understand, he says to Arjuna. But anybody who takes shelter to me, he will cross it very easily. How? He gives example in Bhagavatam. He will cross like we cross a footprint made by a cow, and how much water is there, how easy it is to cross it. We cross it like this if you surrender to Sri Guru and Bhagavan. So Maya is difficult, it is true, very true. And we are utter failures in crossing it. We must realize it. However hard we try, however force we put, we are going to fail. This realization must come. And when you surrender to the God or Guru, then we don't have to think about Maya at all. We don't have to put any force. We don't even have to try to cross it. We will, before we know, we have already crossed it. It's behind us. We'll see it. We'll see it is behind us already. The power of surrender is like that. So which you describe very nicely. And if you believe that you belong here, that is your only qualification. Yes. If you believe that we are part of this parampara, it is a qualification. Nobody can stop us. We have right to go there. We have Gurudev like this. Who will stop us? How? Nobody. If we have faith in a Gurudev like she has, nobody can stop us. So, and then she said, climb out of this illusion of what we are not. We are in this illusion of what we are not all the time. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes this very nicely in his poetry. Very nice in Bangla he describes. We are believing what we are not. I don't want to elaborate it because it is, you can talk about these points for hours and hours. Already 3 hours there. I have to have my lunch. It is lunchtime in Korea. like 2:15 here. And you have to sleep also. But it is so interesting. And then he said,
you also there in South Korea? Your
no,
daughter?
I'm alone here. I'm alone, but I have everywhere around me. I have the whole parampara around me, like you told. And I have very, very elevated devotees near me, next to me, sitting from across the world, other side of the world, other side of the globe, from Maya Nagari. But look at that. From Maya Nagari, from land of sense gratification, we have a person sitting in front of us who is totally not touched by it, who is
Oh
not.
no, that's
No,
not
I can
true.
see it. Whatever you say, we can see it, we can sense it.
No.
So, and then she said, climb out of the illusion of what we are not. And that this thing which she said is very, very important. Very, very heart-touching. I touched my heart really very much. He said, he did it without my knowing, without my wanting. He put my heart in his pocket. She didn't know. We didn't know. Even I didn't know what he did to me. Now I'm figuring out a little bit. And you know what? I want to narrate one more incident which happened with me on this topic. I just remembered. I was in the same Mathura where he cut her bands, same place. And he stood one day and there were like 10, 15 people, not 10, 15, maybe less, 7, 8 or 10. Then you know what he said? He said, you think Guru is a little bit more qualified than you. He knows some Shastras and he's a little old man. And he has remembered some shlokas, he can recite some shloks. And he is wise man. He knows a lot of stuff. He's much better than us. That is what all you think, right? And I was thinking, why is he telling like this? And I was thinking that I know him quite well. That's what I was thinking. I had so much of ego. Look at me. That time I was a young boy. And I thought, I know him so well. He's good, he's that. I thought he's telling for others. But now I realize he was telling for me, not for anybody else. He was telling only to me. And actually, I thought like that. The Guru is a little bit more, but he's so much more. We cannot fathom his depth. Cannot. Even now, we cannot. Even now, what she said, what we are able to see is only a dot in what actually he is. He is the ocean, and we can just see a drop. And I don't know how many lifetimes it will take to actually know who he is, what he can do. You heard how he said how he cured her husband, who was not able to walk in one moment. One moment, he just set him right. And he said, stop doing your practice, because he knows. Sometimes we think what these bhakts know, they just only sing and dance on streets. They do not know anything about Gyan Yoga. They do not know anything about Kundalini, how to Jagrat, how to awaken the Kundalini, which is at the back of your backbone and it raises to your brain. We have heard about it. There's a lot of power in it. But look at that. The Kundalini guy was suffering and he just cured him in a second. So this is the power of Bhakti, which we do not know. Yoga is nowhere close to it, nowhere. Whatever other processes, they are nowhere close to. It looks so simple. The most simple of all processes, but the most powerful of all, I must say. So, and then she talked about the blessed girl who cleaned the toilets. Look at Gurudev's mercy. Look at other people's vision and look at Guru's vision. Other people were shouting at her. Maybe I was there, I don't know, but they were shouting, why, what has he done? What are you doing? Why you brought this girl here? And look, Guru is listening and he came out. He knows what is going on outside here. And not only he stopped everybody, not only he gave his blessing to that girl. Why? Because she came with her. Not that he would go out and give her blessing, because another bhakt has got her and she felt good about her. He respected so much, even a small new bhakt he respected, if you know him. Not that you have to be mukt, no. Even if you have a little bit in your heart, he will respect. And because that girl came with her, he gave her blessing. Oh, you should be blessed. Today I was hearing this Gurudev's katha in the morning before this program. And probably, I don't know whether it was his first trip or second trip, but he was planning to go abroad. And he was speaking to everybody else after the katha. Tomorrow, invite everybody, all the Brajvasis from Brajdham. And you know what he was saying? He said, I have not invited any big pandits tomorrow. I have not invited any big figure, no. I have invited my close friends, family, and my devotees, my Brajvasis. And you know what? Why he was inviting? Not to give them blessing. He was inviting everybody to take their blessing. He said, I am going tomorrow abroad, and there should be no problem in them. So I want to take everybody's of your blessings, of each Brajavasis. Look at the magnanimity of this Guru. He's inviting, and he said, I'm not inviting Pandits. I don't want their blessing, because Pandits don't have anything to give. What blessing they will give? Only a person, a Brajvasi who has Krishna in his heart, who loves Krishna like his own, he can give something. He has blessing. So he knows everything, who can give. And he said, I want everybody's of your blessings. Look at the magnanimity of the Guru, who is the topmost Sakhi, who is the Manjari himself. And here he is wanting to take blessing of an ordinary Brajavasi. But no Brajavasi is ordinary. We only think it is ordinary. They're all very, very elevated people. And Gurudev understands this all the time. He gave so much respect to all Brajavasis, so much. And when she cut her band, she said, you have no friend in this world. I am your only friend. This is a golden statement we all must put in our minds. No, not only put, but we must realize it very deeply. What he said in the first meeting to her. We do not have any friend in this world, actually. But we think we have. We think money is our friend. We think this prestige is our friend. We think the job is our friend. We think our family is our friend. And everybody else is our friend except Guru. Guru is okay, he's there. He will just do something. But no, thing is totally opposite. Guru is our only friend. And look at this Guru, how big he is. How boldly he cut her bands in one moment. This is what Guru should do. Not placate your ego. Oh no, you're very good, very nice. Your band looks so good. You have so many friends. No, in one sword, he will cut everything. And he did. And I was sitting there, I saw it. He cut all the bands. What are these bands? That time, probably we didn't understand so much what he's doing. But now we realize what he's doing. He's cutting all the connections with this material world and establishing a new connection, a new sambandha, a new relation with Srila Guru and with Krishna. So then she said, Bhakti is an emotion. It's a feeling. It's divine love flowing down our Guru parampara. Yes, it is an emotion. It is not something which we'll achieve by reading books and contemplating for hours and analyzing things. No, it is a poetry. It is a poetry. It will flow through us if we are ready for it, if we surrender. If we surrender, if we respect, if we honor Vaishnavas, it will flow through us like it is flowing through her. Bhakti is an emotion, it is a feeling, it's a divine love flowing down our Guru Parampara. My God, what all profound statements she has made. I am so much touched. Then she said, heart is a private temple, which only Krishna and Guru sees it. It is not a public place. Your heart, only you know it, your Guru knows it, Krishna knows it. It is not anybody else doesn't know. They only see what tilak you are wearing. They only see what shirt are you wearing. They only see what the skin of your color is. But the Guru and yourself, you yourself will know where your heart is. Whether it is still in Maya, how much it is out of Maya, you know yourself very well. And whatever you don't know, Guru knows it, even better than you. He knows it much better than you. So very profound statement again from her experience. And Gurudev is so eager to awaken every chintamani which he placed within us when he met us and glanced upon us. Do we even know that he has put chintamani? Not everybody knows it. Not everybody. People who realize that he has put chintamani in our hearts, we must realize it. That's why Gurudev told to her, I have given you what I have to give. Go away now, realize. You don't need any more connection with, any more direct physical connection that you have to be with me all the time. No, I have given you already. And not only to her, he has given us also. He has given me also, given you also. All those who are hearing, he has given us, all of us. And if you have not got it, don't worry, he can give it now also. Even though he is not present physically, but he has the power to give it now. If you connect with the books, with the experiences of experienced devotees like Krishna, who's Vallabha Didi, who's talking to us, and many more.
Say his name, Bhaktivedanta Narayan.
Yes.
Bhaktivedanta Narayan.
Narayan Maharaj. If you hear Hear him now also, he will place the chintamani in your heart. He is very eager to do it. And it is not that his mercy is not available now. It will be available now, tomorrow, day after, and all the years to come forever. Whosoever listens to this, even after 100 years, he will get the chintamani. For sure. So look at that. I don't even know her till yesterday. And look at Guru's mercy, how he has come.
We met again. I'm so glad we met again and reconnected. And when you were speaking at the beginning of the evening, I was very moved by what you said, and you brought me to tears. And I thought, oh, I'm so happy that I'm here and that I've met this lovely, sweet person who gets it like I do. It's just really nice to meet you. I'm very happy, and I hope that we become good friends. And I really like your daughter. I really want to be friends with her.
You said you really hope that we become good friends. I want to make a correction here. I don't think we become, we already are. We already are good friends. There's no one stopping us, because all our Guru brother, God brothers and God sisters, they are like our jewels, and we respect them from our heart. They are our life and soul, because now they are like our Guru now. Whatever Guru has given them, we share with them, we relish, we tell our experience, we listen to their experiences. This is what our life is now. This is the essence of our life. And our Guru is coming to us in the form of our God brothers and God sisters. When she's sitting in front of me, I see her as my Guru sitting in front of me, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj speaking, because that's what she's speaking about, what he has put in her heart. It is not her own possession. The things which she is telling us, it is not her own. She told about her own possessions also before, at the end of the program. That she would dance, she would sing, she would rock music. That was her possession. But what she spoke, the whole 3 hours, it is the possession of Gurudev which gave it to her. So we share those things. So we already are friends now. And Gurudev is so eager to awaken every chintamani which he placed within us when he met us and glanced upon us. His favorite teaching, don't criticize even an ant. I do not want to elaborate because we already taken so much time, but these are really important teachings. These are really important teachings. Don't criticize even an ant. Aparad, all that we are trying to gain is lost by it. Don't do any aparad. So many times he's telling. Though it will all go in vain. So much is given that is yet to be realized. So all these are her statements which I'm reading, which I've written it down. Any sin that is there within you, I can remove in a glance. These are words by Srila Gurudev, her own words, his own words. Mind you, we listen very carefully what she said and what it means. Any sin that is there within you, I can remove in a glance. We don't even know, he might have removed also lots of them. I will follow you to the hell, life after life, to liberate you. Look at this, who can make such statements? Only a person who has the power, who has the confidence, who is from that world, who is Manjari. Yes, he can do this. But one very good thing I liked about him, he will not force anything on us. This is also important. That's why he's saying, I'll go lifetime after lifetime. Why not in one lifetime? Because you are not ready. You are not ready. He will not force. But he will be after us. And I'm just stopping from here. I just remembered what she said about the music, about her last cassette, which she didn't want to let go because that was most dear to her. But when she saw Gurudev and when she saw the heaviness of his sound and heaviness of his words, she let it go. She put that effort and she took that decision. No, I will let it go, even though it is most dear to me in my life. But in front of my Guru, it is not as important. But Guru is so loving, so loving. Look at his love. He said, this girl has sacrificed the best thing for me. I will not take his best thing. And he allowed it to be there on the cassette, which is an impossible thing. The music also stayed and his money also stayed. Look at the love of the Guru. He will not snatch things from you, but he will love it when you give it up, your dearest things. He will like it. He will like that you love him so much. So we must give our best thing which we have for our Guru. best, whatever we love the best, because Guru is beyond all this. And what we get, we cannot even imagine. We cannot even imagine what we'll get out from there. So, next thing she said, anyone who have heard the Gayatri from the lips of pure Vaishnava is on our way home. He's already on our way home. You have to let go of one to get the other. You have to let go of your music to get the Gurudev. But Gurudev is merciful. He didn't snatch it. He still kept it there. And you let it go on your own. He is telling you that. I will not take it. You let it go. It is your duty, not Guru's to snatch. So we have to let go willingly. I will do whatever it takes. Look at the conviction, man. Look at this conviction. I will do whatever it takes. Do we have this feeling? No. I will do subject to these conditions. This is my priority. But I will, if I have time, I will do something for Guru. This is our status, most of us. But if you really want something, then you have to be like Krishna Vallabha. I will do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, regardless. I am tired of getting birth again and again. Are we tired? No. We are enjoying. We think we should get even better life. We should become Devta. We should have so much more opulence. We should go to Swarg. We should become president of America. We are so many things. But look what she is feeling. I am tired of getting birth again and again. When we will get tired, we will have help in front of us. If you are not tired, God is not snatching you. He will allow you to enjoy. He will allow you to experience more until you're tired of the experience, until you're fed up of the experience, until you're crying. So I'm going to read very fast now because my daughter sent me a message, end it, from Toronto. And I have to listen to her. I think it's very late there, probably 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. I don't know. They want to sleep. So.
Oh, it's 12:30, midnight.
So she has her exam tomorrow, and that's why probably she's saying. So, but it is such nice things. I'm so greedy to read them out. I want to give her credit that she experienced so much. So, and I want to put all this thing into our lives also. What teachings we are coming out of it. Anyway, I'm going to put it on the YouTube in the what do you call? I forgot. Subject or what? What do you call it? I forgot. So I'm going to put it there. You can see it wherever it is. I'm the captain of the ship, and all of you are coming with me to the kingdom of God. Even those people across the bank who cannot see me. Now I will not go to describe. I'm just going to read. Christ is professed in our Vedic scriptures, Bhavishya Puran. Jesus walked for 1 year. Walked to Vrindavan. His walk was 1 year to Vrindavan. Gurudev told her. Jesus lived after the resurrection and came to India. Gurudev visited the tomb of the Jesus. Jesus went to Hemis in Ladakh. I think I've been to this place, Hemis. Next time when I go, I'll find more about it. That's why I was asking you. Gurudev went to this temple. You are a fragrant flower which I want to offer to Radharani. I drank him very deeply into my being. Look at the statement. How can I not talk about it? I drank him very deeply into my being. This is the way we should listen, like Shukdev Goswami is listening, without water, without food, without knowing what time is it, how many hours we have sat. You have to drink Gurudev like this, which she has done. And we can see the result of that drinking. So I drank him very deeply into my being. I had an empty heart and my ears were always eager to listen. We don't have empty heart. I'm sorry. I don't have. We have filled it with so many things. We have to make it empty if you want to put anything in it. So if you have empty heart, he can fill it up. So Anita Mangi. How Gurudev used to joke. Who loves mangoes? Mangi. Every word. Huh?
Anita Mengi, and he said, Mangi. You're Anita of mangoes.
Anita mangoes. So, see, Gurudev is such an expert person. Very jokingly, lovingly, he will install the biggest gift of life.
Yeah.
Every word was like a song. Every step was like a dance with Gurudev. Those who experienced it, they know it. Those who have not, you must listen to him. Even then, now you can experience it. Kashmiri Pandit, another name. I don't argue to win people's ego. Yeah, he gave another name, Kashmiri Pandit, to her. I have bhakti in my veins. Gurudev told her that because she has Indian blood. Gurudev used to say all people born in India have in their veins. Bhakti is there already. We must be so proud that we are born in India. And we must feel so fallen that we are born in India, but we are always looking toward West. We want to dress like them. We want to talk like them. And it is a shame that most of us don't even know how to speak Hindi. And we want to be, so we don't know, we want to let go, but being Indian, we have bhakti in our veins. Gurudev used to say that. And that's why he told her, because she's in part Indian. I'm not saying that others don't have it. Gurudev gave it to everybody and there is no consideration, but we have some natural access to it. We have been seeing sants and Mahatmas from our birth. So there is some difference. Okay. Don't be miserly, share your memories. Wow. I always tell that and everybody must listen. I am trying to invite so many people to this program, but they are not coming. And I don't even know Krishna Vallabha. I have never met her, even though I met her unknowingly many years back in front of Gurudev. But I told her once and she was ready. I did not expect also. I thought maybe she will not like it, maybe she is busy. But this is how we should be ready to talk about our Gurudev, experience with our Gurudev, because it helps others. It is helping me, it is helping people who are listening. Not to show what we know, not to show how great we are, no, to help. And if to help, even if people think you are great, let it be. Because your intention is to help. And God always knows. Your temple is always, Guru and God always knows why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. And he will, if you're doing for showing off, it is different. You can do it well. Your choice. But what you said, don't be miserly, share your memories. Yes. Please share your memories, those who have it. My qualification is that I love Gurudev and Gurudev loves me. This is the only qualification. You can never repay me for talking to you right now. I'm in the kingdom with Radhika and I'm talking to you right now. Look at that. Gurudev said this to her husband. He turned around. How merciful. Who will come from kingdom of Radhika, kingdom of Radharani to talk to a person, a yogi? Who? Why is he talking to him? Because of her. Because his daughter is so close to her and he wants to give kripa to her husband also because of her. Not because he's a yogi. Thousands of yogi can come and go. He did not even look at them. But because this yogi is not ordinary yogi, he is husband of Krishna Vallabha, the dear daughter of Srila Gurudev. That's why he came from that world and talked to him, turned around and spoke to him. But because of her sambandha with Krishna Vallabha, the Gurudev's disciples are so dear to him. Anybody who is close to their disciples, he's going to take them also along with him. Everybody, whosoever is dear to their disciples. Absolutely. So if we can become dear to Gurudev's disciples, it is our very big achievement, very big achievement. We'll be blessed because he'll take us also because we're close to the disciples. Like her husband, a yogi, not even a bhakt. Doesn't want to be bhakt, forget about not even a bhakt. He wants to stay a yogi. But Gurudev said, you know what he said? I am going to read again. You can never repay me for talking to you right now. I am in the kingdom with Radhika and I am talking to you right now. Gurudev's heart is Param Gurudev's heart. Param Gurudev would sing English poetry. I did not know this thing. And I learned it first time from her, that he would love English poetry. And Krishna Vallabha has written many English poems and she has 4 albums. I wanted to share the link of those 4 albums. If you can send me, I will share it in this. Also, I wanted to share what classes you do, yoga you do. I know what you're doing, some bhakti classes you told me. So we did not talk about it much. If you want to speak for a few seconds, few moments, you can speak and then give me a link. I will share the link, people who want to join the classes. Yeah.
So My name is Krishna Rose. I go by the name of Krishna Rose kind of in the world because Krishna Vallabha would be too difficult for people to find. And I wanted to make myself accessible to people. So I go by the name Krishna Rose because the rose also is represented very nicely in Christianity. So I can tie the two and be the bridge for many people to come to Bhakti. And that's important for me. So my website is krishnarose.com. My music is available there. You can download it. And my course is only $5. I had to charge something for it because the platform requires some payment. But I get about $2 for it. I'm not in this for the money. The course was written after my book was written as a guidebook for people to liberate themselves from their lower nature. It's very easy to follow, easy to understand, and you will take a very honest journey into yourself where you will assess where you're at, what you need to deal with, and what you don't need to deal with, and how to do it very simply with divine love. So all of that's available through the website krishnarose.com. And I have a YouTube channel. Again, it's my name, Krishna Rose. That's my YouTube channel. And I put up videos pretty regularly. I'm also sometimes on Facebook. I write quite a lot of articles. I do a lot of spontaneous writing and poetry and prayers and videos. And I just put them all out there on Facebook for people to watch and be inspired. And, I'm just trying to be a positive energy in a very dark vibration that's surrounding our world right now,
Beautiful. So that makes it very easy now. krishnarose.com. If you want to connect with her, you can go there and connect with her. And I think that'll be your best decision to connect with her of your life, because to connect with a bhakt, to connect with a person who's blessed by a divine personality is not ordinary. You also become divine because you're connecting with divine, like she is. So all those who want to connect, I must say everybody should connect. And it's very easy, just $5, nothing. You're getting chintamani for $5.
And also, on Facebook and Instagram, I post constantly, inspirations and letters and quotes and,
Yes.
to help people, and it's all for free. So anybody from any religion can kind of come and see what I'm doing. And
through one of her posts only, because of her post, we are having this program today, because I had no connection with her. I did not know where she lives, what she does. I read her post and I was moved. I must say I was moved. Immediately I shared it on my platform. Before sharing, I asked her, can I share it? And she said, yes, why not? Not only I shared in English, I translated it in Hindi, voiceover, and I shared so that the Hindi listening people can understand. And then all these things started. I asked her to speak and she came. So yes, that was the Guruji's arrangement to bring her on here on this platform. So keep sharing your thoughts, your experiences, and you're doing such a beautiful work, I must say. You're spreading Gurudev's teachings. And a few more things I've written, I don't know. I'll just read it out very fast so that I don't take much time. He told me that I should sing for him. I understand the language of poetry. I am seeing my eternal family, and it is very painful that I am not with him. This viraha, if you don't have, cannot go to Krishna. Gurudev, I remember one small statement Guruji said. He said that we have the experience of the miseries which we feel in this world because we are not getting something, we are not having something, or somebody is bothering us. We have the experience of these miseries. But we do not have the experience of the misery that we are suffering because we are away from Krishna for such a long time. We do not have that experience of the misery that we are going through. And the sadhus have the experience of only that misery, that we are away from Krishna. They do not experience any other misery. All the world is cakewalk for them. But the biggest misery for a sadhu is viraha in his heart. He's crying, he's longing for Krishna and Radha from the depth of his heart, and he's banging his head on the wall, like our Goswamis have described. He's rolling on the floor, he's drowning in the ocean like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done. Why? Because they are separation in their heart. They are missing Krishna and Radha so painfully. So painfully. It is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The biggest misery is to be away from Bhakt and Krishna. but we are not feeling. We are not feeling any of it. And until we feel it, we cannot go to Krishna's kingdom. So very nice. I didn't want to speak anything, but the statement itself is so profound that I want to remind of a Gurudev statement. He made the statement. And I'm seeing my eternal family, and it's very painful that I'm not with them. I see her, this kurta, the sheet is drenched in oil. Look at the love for Guru, how she's hugging the sheet. Giving of the seed is so important. You don't want to receive the seed from those who don't have it. How will they give? They don't have nothing. So you will get nothing. When you are giving grace, you have to share it. When you are given grace, this is what you have to share it. What is the greatest humanitarian effort? To become a pure devotee. Nothing more humanitarian than that. You can do the best to the world, not giving food, not clothes, not hospitals, nothing. This is the idea of our Prabhupad, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and which our Gurudev is giving to her. The greatest humanitarian effort is to become a pure devotee. Only a pure devotee can liberate someone. Every movement around Gurudev was just perfect. I cannot hide from my Guru. Cannot hide. Please do not hide anything. If you have hidden, express to him now. He is hearing now also. There are a lot of people who have hidden a lot of things from Gurudev. And if you have done it, you have to pray in his lotus feet and express, tell him openly. Open yourself like open book. Become nude, throw off all your clothes, let him see what we are. And then he'll work on us. I cannot hide from my Guru. I will be with him from babyhood. She was talking about her next birth. I think that's going to be really wonderful. If you're going to be with him from babyhood, you are going to love it. We should look at the thought of our devotees is not that we want to put an end to this birth and death. Yes, we want to, but a lot of devotees say like this, and our acharyas say like this: give us as many births as you want, Lord. Give us whatever you want. But whenever we are born, let us be born with a devotee. Let us be born with a Guru like this. And we are ready to endure any number of births, because then our birth will be wonderful. So don't worry, Krishna Rose. Your birth is going to be beautiful. If Gurudev has told you he's going to be there with you from babyhood, you are going to love it, I'm telling you. And then you are going to say, oh, I don't want to end to this death and birth. Let it be. It is so beautiful because Guru is with you. So nothing to,
hope. It makes you feel, it gives you hope, it makes you feel excited. You have something to look forward to.
Yes, no, this is the thought expressed by many of our acharyas. They have stated like this. They give us any birth. They have even stated that give us birth in lower, even animal kingdom also, even stone. But we should have association of, wherever birth you give, we must get association of a devotee. That much they have said. So look at the realization, the importance of associating with a devotee. Okay. And I will be, she is the source of everything feminine. She's talking about Radharani. He came to open up Sri Radha mercy for the whole world. I will jump into your heart, I will sweep your heart and make a beautiful kunj for Radha and Krishna. All this is because of you. If you do not commit any Vaishnava path, and if we are foolish to think that this is happiness, then you have not seen the happiness. Gayatri mantra is so powerful that it can raise someone from the dead. These are relations of Guru and his devotees. When we invoke these personalities, we need to be present with them. By the mantras, we are invoking them, but we are ourselves not there. We are somewhere else. So what statement she made, we have to be present there. We are calling them to be there when they are coming to us. And no one can block you from your relationship from him, no one. Whatever we know it or not, whether we know it or not, like it or not, but he has given us that. Separation mode is very powerful, and yearning, instant connect to the feeling of love. Indeed it is. I want to chant one pure name. I want you to chant one pure name a day, purely. But chanting one pure, this is not ordinary task Gurudev gave you. It is not a concession he gave you. It is something more he gave you. Chanting one name is more difficult than chanting 1 lakh names, more difficult. It
Exactly.
comes after much time. And Gurudev gave you a very big task, not an easy task, I'm saying, to chant one pure name. Okay. We have to come empty before Gurudev. Every moment of genuine, sincere yearning, record over the tape. He was closer to me than my own soul. Mercy of Maiden of Radharani is made available to us through their Samadhi by our bowing down. We have to die to our egos. We went into had to come out. I forgot what it was. Vertigo stopped in one moment about her husband. Gurudev's power is limitless. That's the magical man that he was. He was indeed very magical. Those who have seen his magic, I've seen his magic work around everywhere. So many people came on this program and it worked on all of them. Gurudev has the power to create and destroy universe. Shamarani Didi's statement. I do not know, and I have no experience. So I have not entered this realization. Maybe one day I will. How he moved through this world, so gracefully, without disturbing anyone. These are Mahatmas like this. They don't disturb, they only help people. Only person delaying our progress is only us. Everything that is happening to us is because of our left hand punching us. Very big statements by Gurudev. I will no longer take this punishment from my stupid mind. What a decision. We are ready to take still. Bhakti does it as a side effect. Yes, we don't even have to try. It just happens. Everything will be cleaned. We have to be honest with us. We should not be greedy or miserly with it. I think it is very hard to maintain the ego when you are touched by a Gurudev like this. What a statement. It is very hard to maintain the ego. Even if you want to maintain it, he's saying it is very hard to maintain the ego when you are touched by Gurudev like this. It is not in your capacity to maintain your ego, friends. When Gurudev like this puts mercy, puts his hand on your head, your ego will run away. You try to hold it, it will still run away. Because the power of Guru is so powerful, so overwhelming. You try to hold on to it, clinch to it, no, it will go away. So what a statement, lovely statement. I think it is very hard to maintain the ego when you are touched by Gurudev like this. There is nothing that is worth tasting. I have tasted it all.
True.
Mother can never reject her child, even though I'm so unqualified. We are very unqualified, but Supreme Mother, Supreme Feminine Power, our lovely Srimati Radharani can never reject us because we are unqualified. If we approach her with all our disqualifications and imperfections, she is bound to take us in her arms because she's a mother. She's a feminine energy. It is very painful to be separate from such beauty. This is last statement I noted down from her beautiful poetry, which emerged from her soul. We saw how a druggy girl who was into dancing, partying, music, whatnot, how such a girl is cleansed, not only cleansed, but she has come to such level of realization, such level of experiencing, such level of undergoing the beautiful experience of a guru and touching his mercy. Look at the magnanimity of this guru who has done such an impossible task. Any amount of classes, any amount of what you're saying, what you need to take to come out of this. I don't know what word you use. You have to come out of alcoholism and drugs. What do you need to do? You take some classes, right? What do you call those?
Just to reach for Bhakti. That's
no.
it.
No. In world there are some classes which you take to come out of bad habits. You were talking about it. I forgot the word. So worldly people do it, like Alcohol Anonymous. They are doing something to remove those bad habits, but they are not able to do it. But when you are touched by a guru, everything just washes away without you even realizing it, without you even knowing it, without you even understanding it, how all this thing is happening like magic on you, how this guru is working like a magician with this magic band around you. how he's creating an aura around you, how he's taking you away. And when you realize, you already know that you are behind, all those things are behind you. They are nowhere next near you. So what a beautiful expression. We wanted to do it for 2 hours, but I didn't care about time. All the time is meant only for this thing, nothing else. Our whole time the God has given us is only to realize the mercy of our Guru, what he has done to us and still doing to us, and is doing all the time, ever forever. So his disappearance day is coming in 2 days. 17th is his disappearance day, when he left us with this viraha in our heart, longing for him. And you know what he said that day? I didn't tell you that time. When he said that you think Guru is only a little bit ahead of us, a little more learned, at that time he said one more thing. He said, you will not know what Guru is right now. You will realize some of it, little bit of it, when he is not there physically in front of you. I think he was 100% true. What he told me, it was only for me. And I was like a foolish thinking, I know so much. But it is meant for me directly. And now we're realizing little bit by bit, we're moving with the help of friends like you, with the help of Guru, God brothers and God sisters like you. They are helping immensely to go towards Srila Gurudev. And it's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful path. It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful poem. It's a beautiful dance. It is beauty everywhere, everywhere. Thank you so much. Krishna Vallabha Didi, Krishna Rose.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to.
Your heart is beautiful like a rose.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, we're all roses in the heart, so we have to offer the flower-like moods of our devotion to the altar of our prayer practice now, and try to really, you know, take every opportunity for that grace that if we make the effort, that make it matter.
And one more thing, I know it is very late, but if somebody wants to say a few words to Krishna Rose or ask her something, you're welcome. I'll give some time. You're most welcome to say a few words, even though there are not many people now, but I know people are going to listen to this later, and it is going to be stored forever. Maybe people will hear after 100 years, and they will listen to this. If somebody wants to say anything, they're most welcome to say. Before I close.
Didi, thank you for saying such beautiful realization with Gurudeva. Thank you, Didi. Thank you, Prabhuji, for such beautiful program.
So I thank you all the devotees who are listening and who are going to listen in the future, because of your love, because of your greed to listen to Gurudev and what he is, what he was, to increase our realization. You're all helping us. You're all giving us energy to do such programs, invite such elevated souls into our program and listen from them, go through their experiences, listen to their realizations, and this helps us immensely in our own realization, in our own journey towards our Gurudev. Thank you very much, everyone. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Samasta Rupano Guru Parampara ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrand ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shri Krishna Vallabha Didi ki jai. Krishna Rose Didi ki jai. Radhiya Madhur Smriti ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Jai.
Hari Hari.